Welcome to Lockdown Podcast. This one's a long one, folks, and I apologize for that, but this is probably our favorite one we've made so far. Tons of jokes, good discussion, and a slightly tipsy me, which I also apologize for. No time to waste, though. Let's go! You know what amazed me about this season?
What is it? That it's good?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's that. I was also just genuinely surprised by the sheer amount of 3D CGI shows.
Oh, God.
There's a lot of them.
It is a plethora this season.
It is very surprising to me. There's quite a bit, and
the best part is you're getting all kinds too. You're not just getting like super shit. You're also getting actually that was good. That was really good.
Okay, so speaking of that was really good, I haven't got to watch the fighter pilots one. So.
I watched one episode of it last night.
Okay, so you have seen what is probably the one good one.
Hey. Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Matt's going to take umbrage with that.
But
because of his band girl.
I've seen the pilot show though.
What did you think, Matt?
What did I think of it?
Yeah.
Can we get a title for what the pilot show is so people aren't just thinking what's the pilot show?
Okay. So
it's
yeah,
the
we
show
need to
that
specify.
only had a pilot. They never made another episode.
Well,
which one?
There is another show, but yeah.
The pilot one that's not Girly Air Force.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's not Girly Air Force. It's the English title is the Magnificent Kotobuki. Yeah.
Koya no Kotobuki.
Yeah,
for
Koya
the
no
Japanese
Kotobuki.
title.
Kodo. I don't know if that's the running abbreviation or not, but
I don't know either, but we'll run with it.
Yeah,
I
Matt,
I like that.
Did you enjoy the show?
Yeah, I honestly liked it. I didn't.
How many episodes have you seen?
Only one.
Okay. Yeah, I've only seen the one, and it's like every now and then they'll have like a character in the background that's a little stiff on the animation, but other than that, like, it's not like incredibly drama heavy. The story is obviously there just to support cute girls flying pilots and shooting things down. And that's not bad. Like, it's just fun. That's all it is. And I just was having some fun watching it.
I mean, it sounds like if that's what you're signing up for, then you're in for a good time, because I watched the PV for it, and I was kind of pretty excited to watch it. And then I forgot that it existed once the season started. Where is it airing?
High Dive.
Son of a bitch. Alright.
Yeah, so if you're using, like, AnyChart or something, like, the High Dive shows don't actually come up as, like, a little icon. But I also having that problem with Crunchyroll shows this season, too. So, it's like, I've had to Google several times on where to find shows legally, because they just don't list them. They haven't been very good at updating it on a site like AnyChart. Or even, like, My Anime List hasn't even been good about it.
Which is such a shame, because there's so many good services now.
I know.
For legal streaming, and it's just like, come on,
now
man.
that Amazon has pretty much died, thank God. And
rest in peace.
Yep.
Or not.
No, not.
Now, if only High Dive could get their casting shit together.
Yeah.
As far as like Chromecast stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
really?
that they have some apps problems. I know that. But.
It's the only you can stream stuff and Chromecast it from Android devices. I have tried casting stuff from my Chromebook, and so I can cast the tab, but when I have it go full screen, subtitles don't appear.
Oh, that's a problem.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bummer, but I can still watch it, so small problems. But anyway,
that's a big problem. But yeah,
the Kotobuki is just fun. Like, it's not set in any like true reality. It's just a set of like mercenaries / transporters. You're kind of like Firefly-esque crew of rogues that just take jobs. That's all it is. But like, they're just having fun doing it, and like, they're very competent women and girls actually, because some of them are kind of young. So like, I don't know. It was fun. I do. It's like I do take issues occasionally with shows like this that like each individual character is just a trope and they don't really stray that far from it. But it's only been one episode. Maybe they'll do something with it, and if not, that's fine. Like that's not. It's like that's benign at worst.
It kind of sucks to say that's sort of the standard at this point.
Yeah,
and that's just kind of how much of this goes.
There's a lot of shows that do that. Like,
that is the standard. But like it's just the animation is actually pretty good for the most part, surprising. And the battles are fun. The characters are, kind of humorous the way that they banter back and forth between each other. So like, I don't know. I had fun. If I wanted to like turn my brain off and watch some girls shoot the shit out of some World War II planes, I'm down.
I like planes. I don't know much about planes.
I don't either.
I'm not a dogfighter sort of expert, so I don't know. I like planes. They have spinny things, so like, it's fine with me. Fine with me.
What an excellent observation.
Very good.
I feel like I'm being belittled here.
You're being belauded.
I'm being bullied.
Now, Matt, we would never do that.
Oh, that's bullshit.
I will say there is one character that the entire time that I was watching this, I was just horribly confused. Because like all the characters are wearing these like really cool outfits, and I like a lot of them. They're like really neat and unique styles of dress. And then there's one who's this super tall, buxom woman that named Zara, I believe, and she's just wearing like a cheerleader outfit. And I'm like, why? I don't understand the significance.
Aesthetic.
I guess. I'm just like, alright, you do you, girl, but this is weird. Especially if you're gonna be like, I don't know, just running around a ship and flying a plane. It seems like a hassle.
I don't know. I'm not an expert on this.
It's a fun show if you want something fun, which I needed actually because I was watching that the same night as a couple of these other shows, and sweet fuck.
Oh boy!
So what I've learned from this season is there's two kinds of shows. There's the ones that are really fun, and then there's the ones that wow, what the fuck happened?
Oh boy, and am I living for the what the fuck happened shit.
I figured you would, because I remember that you recommended a couple to me, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit down not knowing anything because I refused to read the synopses.
Which ones did I recommend to you?
You recommended...
Did I recommend The Promised Neverland?
Yes, you did.
Oh,
yeah, that was you. I remember this.
I'll tell you this, since we're probably just gonna go ahead and launch into it. Whenever I started watching The Promised Neverland, I was like, okay, this seems like, kind of like close-knit community. Maybe it's just their daily lives. And then I saw The Maid. And before you even know anything about Mama, her eyes, I was just like, there is something wrong, and I don't like it anymore. And then it gets into the Giver style world where they're like, you can't go past the fence. Like, no one knows what's out there, but you can't do it because you're not allowed to. And then it gets into the fucking, it went fucking off the wall whenever.
Yeah, that was off the rails.
Obviously, spoiler alert going forward.
Oh my
gosh. If you are listening to our podcast and you haven't watched The Promised Neverland yet,
do yourself a favor, do it.
Why are you under a rock?
Yeah.
Right. Stop what you're doing if you're listening to this, which I say with much to my chagrin, but stop listening and please go watch it. It's so very good. It's so very, very good.
It's also really fucked up how that opening, which is amazing, but that opening, both the song and the animation, totally leads you into a false sense of security because those kids keep smiling, and then you realize they're smiling because they have to smile, and you're like, oh no.
Quick tangent. That OP, it's the OP of the year. It's winter season. I understand that, but anything will be hard pressed to beat that. That saxophone. Oh my god.
It's pretty good, but I will actually argue that this is, and we've just gotten started 2019 here, but this is the fucking season of OPs. Like the
well, actually,
yeah,
no.
You got the
No, you're right.
You got bops
It's actually
this
not the
season.
Promised Neverland. I'm actually gonna have to give it to Boogiepop and Others right now, but we'll get to that later.
I would have to give it to Dororo.
Oh, I haven't heard the Dororo.
Oh, it's so good.
Anyway, we're talking about the Promised Neverland.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I've been talking for the past 5 minutes.
Well, the Promised Neverland. I don't know about you guys, but when I saw that there was that barrier plot point, I totally had the Shinsekai Yori like a phenomenon go in my head, and I was
Yes.
hey, this is not a normal show.
I feel like I've seen
Yeah.
this before.
Ding, ding, ding. Like alarm bells in my head. Like, this is not good. None of what's happening is good.
Oh, absolutely. Because everything I've only heard things about the show in terms of it's very good. You should get into the series, and I had no idea of it. But I was just like you, man. I saw that like small, like knee-high black bar barrier going around the forest, and I was like, is everything okay? Are these kids all right?
Like, you would
Are they
think
gonna
that the
be good?
numbers on the neck would clue us in, but we're like, I don't know, give it a chance. And then you see the barrier, and you're like, no.
Nope.
I mean, look, I saw the barcodes, basically. They're not barcodes, but it's just numbers. But I saw these, and I was like, I mean, this might be just like a weird dystopian kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah.
I mean, bad enough as it is, but I did not expect it was a kid farm for Munchins and Crunchins. That was...
Oh my god.
Are you okay?
That was the that was a really graphic way to put that.
Oh, that was so good.
But wow. Wow, accurate.
Wow, accurate indeed. Wow is my exact reaction. Really, my reaction to watching the first episode was, if you can imagine like an XY graph, and you would start at the highest point on the y-axis.
Okay.
And it is the Y is my smile and the X is time. And
okay.
as X increases, Y exponentially decreases. And by the time I get to the gate point, my jaw is literally hanging open for about all of a couple minutes. I'm not even realizing it, but it's at a point when the credits hit, and I'm just sitting here like, oh, this just happened. Man, I didn't expect a show about a bunch of kids to go this way, and you're very much right. I'm getting a lot of shades of Shinsekai Yori.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen anything that's come quite close to this in a while.
No, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
astounding.
My whole experience watching this so far, because I've seen, let me double check my notes here. I've seen 2 episodes. Right?
Oh god, dude.
Yeah. I've seen 2 episodes so far. The first episode was very much your XY graph as far as my smile. And then it was just a lot of me at the end of the episode going, oh no, oh no, oh no. But then the second episode was, and don't get me wrong, I love this series, and I genuinely do kind of enjoy like Shinsekai Yori and these types of series. But the entire time that I'm watching them, I'm just like, I hate it. And then like something else happens and I'm like, I hate it. No.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the most astounding thing about this show is that it is able to so consistently inspire in me this sense of dread.
Absolute dread.
And I just feel at every moment like the characters are in such a ever-present, consistent danger that I just it's been so long where I've actually felt fear for characters in a way like this, and especially since they are actual ass children. They're not even like 13 years old, 12 years old max, and I'm sitting on my couch just thinking I'm watching and I'm enthralled, but the back of my head's like like a low hum the whole time.
Yeah, I actually had my Chromebook. I was laying in my bed watching anime, and so I had my Chromebook like sitting on my belly, and I was just like laying down and watching this, and I was like physically pushing this Chromebook away from me.
Oh yeah, you want a good comfy show before bedtime. What a great way to have a comfy bedtime story.
Yeah, I know. What
yeah,
the
no
fuck
kidding,
was I thinking?
right?
I didn't know what this was going in. I genuinely, like, it has been a while since I have seen a series that, like, I would legit actually call horror. Because, like, this is so fucking... It's not just like, oh, they're showing some dead children. That's real fucked up. They are showing some real psychological shit. It is fucking with me. And it's so good, but I also, like, hate it.
Especially considering, like you said, this wasn't what I was expecting going into
No.
it, because I heard the Promised Neverland, and I saw the posters for it, and I saw Emma, and I was like, oh, that's a real Peter Pan looking motherfucker. Maybe this is like something adjacent to that.
Oh my god.
That's
so
even worse than my mentality going into this.
I mean, I don't know. I just see. Look at this picture, right? I see silverware, a plate, and a clock.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what to think about that. That tells me nothing.
To be fair,
I just see the tags like psychological. You know. Oh, by the way,
I didn't even see that.
Well, a lot of times they add tags
I
like
didn't
after
either.
the first episode. I don't know if you've ever noticed that about shows, but
Oh,
like
yeah,
they never
good.
fill them all in. They
That's
always
good.
they're just well, it's because half the people don't know what's going on.
Right.
And then after the first episode, someone's like, "Oh, we can add those now because that's what it is." And then suddenly you see psychological thriller horror pop up, and it's like, "Oh yeah, huh? You're right."
Psychological
Thanks.
thriller, horror, content warning, content warning.
I mean, essentially, yeah. It's I'm caught up at this point with the anime, and I have yet to see a show that has made a game of tag / hide and seek be this anxiety inducing to watch.
When they explain it like that in the second episode, they're like, it's just like how we used to play. It's a game of tag. I'm like, oh my gosh. It was like more than like It Follows. I'm just like, this is fucked up. This game of tag is real fucked up. I think it's interesting that they definitely do approach it like that. That they frame it in that way because they show us the game of tag initially, and then they show us, and then they also show various different things like how Mama can find all of the children regardless of where they are.
Oh,
And I also think that it's interesting that like all of these kids they already showcase them as being super fucking smart, and that's leans into like the ideas surrounding this story. But because they're so smart, they're desperately trying to hold on to their lives. And it's really this more of like ignorance is bliss kind of thing going on right now for a lot of these kids. I like this a lot. I like this setup a lot. And I also am thinking, because I've only seen 2 episodes so far, but I'm thinking that story-wise, it also explains why Mama is keeping them alive, even though she very much knows that they know. Like, there's no way she doesn't. I'm thinking it's just because, like, if the whole idea is that the smarter you are, the sweeter you taste to these monsters, then if these kids are desperately trying to outwit the adults, they're just making themselves taste sweeter.
What a good way to actually approach that. But that would make sense in the narrative of the actual story that's addressing here. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I have zero reason to think that this show is not going to be good going forward. The 3 episodes I've seen have been top notch all the way through.
Absolutely.
The soundtrack is fantastic.
Yeah.
The way that it actually has a story pacing wise, and the way in which that it actually frames so many things. Like you said, this idea of showing the kids playing tag every day, and then upon the revelation that they find out they're on a kid farm, essentially, and they have to get the rest of the kids out of there. The idea that they are training them to escape by having them play tag and such is such a fascinating way of approaching this fascinating, like, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest kind of escape sort of thing. I'm so stoked to see where it goes. It's so good. I don't mean to just gush about it, but it's so good, y'all.
No, like, it deserves it. Within I haven't seen the third one, but within 2 episodes, I was like, this is going to be one of those animes that's going to get into the awards this year. Like, I'm like, this has already, like, knocked it out of the gate as just genuinely standing apart from other things that I've seen. And so, like, that just makes me so stoked to see where this is going. I'm going to hate it all the time until I finish it, and then I'm gonna be like, man, that was good.
So fun fact, just looking at staff notes here.
Yeah.
Director of Sora no Woto and Elven Lied.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sora
that
no
makes a
Woto?
lot of sense.
Sora no Woto doesn't look like a bad show. It looks comfy, which actually really scares me now.
Oh, he also directed Bakano for a few episodes.
Episode director, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's some other stuff, but that was...
he storyboarded an Idolmaster movie.
What? Oh, yeah. Alright.
What's a twist?
So maybe this dude is just very prolific. Oh, he storyboarded the Saint Onisan movie too. Oh, this dude's perfect.
Saito Nisan. I don't know.
Wait, hold on, wait.
Are you looking at the right guy?
It's Saint Young Men.
Oh fuck yeah, dude! This dude's done everything. I love Saint Young
how
Man.
good.
I want to be friends
Okay.
with this man.
Anyway,
Sorry, series comp for Gatchaman Crowds and Suritama. Just throwing that out
that
there.
makes
And
so much sense.
Land of the Lustrous.
Ooh.
Oh god, I mean, like it makes sense because every major aspect of this show is so consistently polished and so well put together. It is such a fantastic overall piece of storytelling media.
Yes.
Mwah, mwah.
Yeah, I'm so stoked to see more of this.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yep.
Man.
So we've started pretty high. What else?
Well,
What
I mean,
else do we want
We
to hit?
started with a comfy show, and then we just suddenly jumped to like pure dread incarnate.
If we want to talk pure dread and
Oh,
can we
no.
talk-
Oh, what's
I was
up?
gonna say, can we talk virtual, San?
Yeah, that's actually pure dread and
So
incarnate.
I'm super pissed because I actually have not gotten a chance to watch this or Dimension High School.
Okay. So I have some words about Dimension High School.
Yeah,
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Virtual San wa miteru, or Virtual San looking. I'll admit I've watched half of the first episode
Okay, why did you not watch the second half first off?
because my internet died on me and I had to go get a new router.
Oh, rip.
Yep. So, thanks, company.
Thanks, company.
Yes. So, man, what a wild time to be alive we're in, where virtual AI Japanese YouTubers have their own anime.
Are any of these were any of these characters like legitimately virtual AI YouTubers
Yes.
before this show? Okay.
They are. They're all are.
Kizuna Ai does the theme song.
Well, I knew that, but like she's not in the show, so I was just wondering.
Yeah, the actual characters in the show, as far as I know, are actual virtual YouTubers, because I ended up finding videos on some of them.
Really?
And they have, like, a lot of subscribers. Like, a lot.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those, when people say the Avengers is the most ambitious crossover of all time, I show them this kind of thing. I
thought it was cancer.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Like, I can see
Like-
how some folks enjoy it. It's not my specific brand of humor, particularly.
Is it one of those? Because I haven't seen it. Is it one of those things where it's like it relies too heavily on just hey look random, and then like you're supposed to think that's funny just because it's random?
Largely speaking, yes, it plays into a lot of the character tropes of the specific AI. So think basically if you gave Kizuna Ai a full 25-minute anime air slot, but it was lol random kind of stuff.
It's kind of like, so the whole show is broken up with these characters. They have like these 5 characters or whatever, but then they also have like 5. It's like broken into like 5 or 3 or 2 or whatever, however long segments of just random different sketches.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, and the thing is,
and they're completely not related.
Right.
Yeah, they're unrelated, but they are supposed to reflect the actual AI personalities that they present in their channels and such.
Okay.
So like there's one that's kind of more a lazy sleepy gamer girl, and there's kind of this whole bit about she's walking home and she imagines it as a PUBG game, or things like that. So yeah, it's all right. I think that this is more a show for the fans, as opposed to this is a show that just anyone should watch.
All right.
Yeah, I feel like if you knew the personalities or had some kind of attachment to them, it might work out better.
That's probably true. Although I remember, Matt, whenever you were talking about the show, it also sounded like it doesn't help that the show has a full episode slot. Like I feel like if it's just going to be like a really random funny skit show, it probably would benefit from just being shorter.
That's kind of what I was thinking, because I got to the halfway point of the show itself, and the thing was, mercifully, my internet cut off at that point, because I was just... No. Like it has some good to it. There were a few moments where it made me chuckle, but really, I was thinking about that point, oh my god, I really still have another whole half of this episode to go.
Right.
And the thing about that is, yes, I feel as though, for me as a watcher that does not have any actual experience having seen the AI YouTubers themselves and not necessarily being a fan of them, to me as a casual watcher, it would benefit a lot more from being like a few like bump sketch kind of things as opposed to a full-length thing, because at some point it just kind of drags on and it's like, we're still doing this, we still have more to go, but again, that's coming from more of an outsider to this particular brand of thing.
Yeah, and maybe if you're like a huge fan of these types of YouTubers, then like this is right up your alley. But let me ask you, because like I said, I've seen nothing. Is it because most of the virtual YouTubers that I've seen, they use a mixture of like motion capture with changing animations for their faces? What is the actual animation like for that?
I mean, Matt, if I'm remembering correctly, it's essentially that.
I mean, it's pretty much that. Like,
okay.
I mean, it's exactly like you're watching, like, Kizuna Ai on her channel or something. It's exactly. It's like, it seems like it's either similar or the same technology.
Yeah. Okay.
It's kind of like you tossed a bunch of YouTubers into VR chat and recorded in that.
A little bit, yeah.
Which, I mean, to be honest, it's like, I'm not necessarily against that, because I've seen some stuff come out of VR chat and it's fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, it's also like, I guess it has to be part of the charm for you to like enjoy the wonky way that like these characters would be moving.
Right.
Yeah, because like otherwise it just looks bad to you.
Well, it's not that it necessarily looks bad, because I didn't have any really problem with the animation of the show. I mean, I thought it probably worked with the show, honestly. I just didn't like the show.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That was kind of the whole thing. I was like, everything works together, I just don't like it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, weirdly enough, I think I would have liked it less if it was, like, hand-drawn or 2D animated.
Yeah, that would have actually made it worse.
I feel like the actual CG avatars worked very well for it, like Matt said. It gives them their own specific like charm and way in which they kind of actually stand out, because otherwise this would be a just standard cute girls doing cute things with like quirky design kind of stuff. but having them actually be AI YouTubers is a much more interesting angle to it.
That actually brings up an interesting thing in my mind, because I'm thinking, would you say that a part of the charm of these characters is the way that they move, like their actual physical body language? And that's
no, I kind of hated some of it.
Oh, okay.
Honestly,
I'm like getting real deep here, and you're like, "Nah, fuck it."
Yeah, there were some parts where I was like, "Wow, that's weird." Some people might like it, I guess, but again, I guess that's if you like the show, you probably would like that too.
Right. I'm just thinking, like, in comparison to like 2D animation, I'll watch like a Kisune AI sketch, and I actually like that there's like an actual physical body language to the motion capture that like lends itself to the character. It's like an actual like physical acting in there rather than just going for like something that's a little bit more typical anime.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of see them as two different sides of the coin.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still want to watch it, but I'll probably only give it like a couple episodes.
That's the thing. It's definitely worth a watch because if nothing else, it is a very fascinating kind of dive into this really weird, brave new world of anime production, because I've never quite seen anything like it until this season through both it and like Dimension High School, for example.
You know, I would probably agree with that, actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
because
it's getting popular, that's for sure.
It
is, and it's
getting used more, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and it's really fascinating to actually see stuff like, because I mean, really, like both this and Dimension High School really look like they were recorded in like VR chat or something.
Yeah,
which, to be honest, they could have.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing.
Possible.
Just especially with like Dimension High School, the way in which the characters move and interact with one another, it seriously looks like they have used some kind of weird game engine to actually record this with.
Yeah.
I can't give you any solid backing to say that this is what they did, but man, it looks like it.
Which, to be honest,
Yeah.
and I'm probably going to be in a minority here, but like, as that technology gets better, I'm totally down. I'm totally down with like having real human actors in my anime. Like, that seems fascinating to me. I don't necessarily want it to replace like 2D animation, but I think it would be fascinating to have that as another form. But I'm also like a gamer, and so I'm used to like things like The Last of Us, in which they take motion capture data and turn it into something fucking phenomenal. Like,
Right,
so
yeah.
and that's what I would more like from this, rather than like something that looks like a little jumpy and weird. Something where you're taking that motion capture data and then you just make it like super awesome and like super realistic.
I feel like I kind of feel like I'm on both sides of this. Like, and like I guess it depends on what day you catch me on, but I feel like sometimes I look at this and I'm like, yeah, this is really interesting and cool. Like I look at Virtual Sun looking and I'm like, oh yeah, like this is cool. Like I don't like what it's doing, but I like the technology. Yeah. And then I look at things like Dimension High School and I'm like, man, I hope this is not the future of anime. Like,
right. Mm-hmm.
Well, because like, man, like for one, I think the 2D style works for a lot of shows, but I also
yeah.
I also am in the mindset of looking at things from a different and more unique perspective, and also I kind of like the unique take that they're doing. So it's one of those things. It's like, oh, I wouldn't mind if that's used, and at the same time, though, I also don't want to be one of those people that's like, I'm never watching a CG show ever again because of this. So
right, I'm very much in the same boat as you, and I'm going to be talking quite a bit about that when we inevitably talk about Wise. But hush, we'll get to it. The thing about this is, I'm very much in your same camp because I think seeing shows be produced with this kind of new form of anime production using like some VR chat looking shit is really interesting. And I think it is a cool way for production companies and anime to actually be approached and looked at. I think it is a fascinating new way to see how we can produce these stories and actually get them out in a new way that doesn't feel like something you've seen 1,000 times before.
Yeah.
Not to say that you can't make innovations with 2D, because clearly 2D hand-drawn animation has been making innovations for decades at this point. There's nothing wrong with that.
For technically centuries at this point.
Yes. And so, really, I love seeing this kind of stuff. But Matt, man, like, I'm very much in your same boat, because, like, I finally got around to watching Dimension High School today, and oof indeed, for a couple different reasons, and not really for the animation style, actually. Like,
yeah.
For me, the weird, like, VR chat kind of style janky animation, like the hands going through their bodies and such, was the most endearing part of the show to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's so fascinating to see an anime that is like a mix of actual live action acting and then also a 3D CG component that doesn't look like any other 3D CG kind of stuff I've seen used in an anime. That kind of style of approaching it as a medium for storytelling within the anime genre is fascinating to me. I think it's really cool, but I'm in your camp, Matt, because like it's not executed the best way, and I don't expect it to be. That's the thing, because this is the first I've ever seen of anything tried like this.
Right.
So the first attempt makes sense. It's probably going to be a dumpster fire.
When I saw this thing, well, I actually haven't seen it, but when I saw the PV initially, because I think Matt, you showed it to me. That was one of the things that I saw in that, is that, like, there was even a couple of jokes where it was like people were like, "What the fuck? Why is my arm going through my head?" They were like actively making fun of how like weird and shitty this type of like VR chat style CG thing is, and I was like, if they lean into that and still have like a sort of decent comedy story, that would be fucking great. Like, that would be something that I would come home, like, grab a rum and coke and get super drunk and watch.
Yep. I'm sorry to disappoint you.
Oh, no. Don't do it.
Okay. Matt, you've watched the first episode, right?
Yeah, I have. I've watched almost everything. Actually, I have watched everything, so...
He's seen
Kyle,
all things. All shows,
Kyle, you've seen the preview for the show, correct?
I've seen the preview.
Kyle, do you remember seeing the Sphinx that phases through the wall?
Vaguely, yes.
Okay, so the basic idea is that Sphinx is the big bad of the series.
Okay.
And he is destroying the world that they're transported to.
Okay.
And they're supposed to be these heroes of legend. He is destroying everything because people are failing to solve his puzzles and quizzes.
Okay.
And essentially what the show actually is, when you get down to it, the Sphinx comes in and he actually puts up some logic questions and puzzles, and there's a large focus on the puzzles themselves, so it's kind of like a watch the show and solve the puzzles along with the rest of the crew.
Mm-hmm.
Which, interesting idea.
Yeah,
but
yeah, that's very much how the Layton series made itself. Set
yes. The weird part of it right now, though, is that a part of me is kind of confused as to why it is getting localized over here, because a lot of the puzzles have to do with actual, like, Japanese wordplay and such. So watching this and watching them struggle for 3 minutes on a puzzle that has to do with actual, like, Japanese kanji and their translation into English words and romanizations of it is kind of...
It's kind of overbearing.
It sucks a lot. And I'm sure that were I a native Japanese speaker and I knew both English and Japanese, this would be funnier to me. It would make a lot more sense. But kind of as an outsider that doesn't have any understanding or point of reference language-wise for this, it's not the most entertaining piece. To me, ultimately, the best part about this is the novelty of the animation style and the crossovers, which is unfortunate. Like, I would really like to see this be something that, like you said, that I could come home and just get absolutely blazed and watch. But
so let me pose this to you, because
yes,
this will change your entire thinking about the show.
I'm listening.
Okay. What language courses did you take in high school?
Spanish.
Did you ever watch the really shitty, but absolutely hilarious because they were shitty, dramas that they would have you watch in Spanish class?
Kyle, I went to a private Christian high school. Do you think I watched
Okay.
shitty Spanish dramas?
Val and I were talking about this earlier, and it was fucking hilarious because we both ended up watching the same really shitty Spanish high school drama. Anyways, point being, they specifically show those to people in public school because it's a great way to learn the language. Because they talk slower, and they talk about the language itself, and they're super shitty, which means that you're sitting there in class, you're like, I don't want to fucking watch this. And then it comes on, you're like, what the fuck is this? And they know it. So that's why they show it.
So I'm not gonna shut you down completely.
Mm-hmm.
But
Can you shut him down completely?
But
don't do
honestly, that would be a good idea had the translation actually been decent. And
yup.
Oh, no.
So that's part of the issue here, is that, for one, these shows require an immense amount of localization.
Oh,
and just to work properly for something even specific as an shitty educational video. So the problem here is that it's very, I would say very roughly translated, just enough so you barely grasp what's going on. Because even as someone that knows a little bit of romanization and stuff, it's just out of my wheelhouse still, even grasping what's going on. Because now, granted, it's just as Zach was saying earlier, the animation style alone makes it more interesting. Because I did watch a 2D short show that was like this, and it was really bad. For the same reason, it actually enacted the same puzzle-like gimmick, because I don't know why they keep doing this, but I don't know. I don't think the translation is intact enough to make it work. Honestly, it requires a lot of care and attention, and apparently either the shows aren't high quality enough for them to put the highest quality translators on them, and of course no one's going to want to fan sub them because they're shitty.
Do you feel like this might be like legitimately an educational, like edutainment type of thing that then just accidentally got adapted for over here?
Absolutely
no.
not.
No? Okay.
No.
No.
It's definitely supposed to be a comedy sort of thing.
I'm really
look,
pushing hard on this because I want to believe.
I know you're trying to give it the benefit of the doubt. Something about the translation, though, I can't help but think that simulcasts are a huge part of this issue.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, I actually do. Well, I kind of believe that, but
yeah. So because the thing is here, imagine, if you will, like, you know, these shows come out, and the idea is that you are going to get an English translation fully subbed of this show like an hour after it airs in Japan. That means folks have like a handful of time to properly sub this, translate it, go through QA and quality testing, and get this out to the public. You are not going to get as solid quality, like fully QA tested subs as you would if people gave a fuck and were like, I can wait a little bit of time for this episode to come out. I don't care.
Okay.
But the fact that simulcasts have been such a hard push and has become such a large industry standard, it leaves you with a lot of these kind of issues. Again, that's just my perspective, but I cannot help but feel that that is a major issue in terms of like translation quality these days.
To you, that's what it feels like.
It seems that way. I've heard a fair bit of discussion about this, but
it's been discussed in the past. Fan subbers discuss this all the time, so it's just kind of a thing.
Yeah, because there's this rush to get a product out, and
it obviously diminishes quality to some extent.
Because
now, which show, I mean, depending on a lot of factors, it can be anywhere from good quality to manageable quality to really bad quality.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, like for something like Dimension High School, which seems to have no real reason to be here. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of draw from a lot of people. Like, people aren't exactly like busting down High Dive's door for this show. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of reason for them to put quite as much effort and resources into this as opposed to some other simulcast or simuldub that they might be looking forward to pushing out.
Well, let's think about this too. Like, so if you look, I don't have a list of High Dive's simulcasts in front of me, just for reference. If you look at some of their other shows, if you're High Dive, right? Let's look at this from High Dive's perspective. You get a whole list of shows that you know you're going to simulcast this season. You get shows like, you have like Dimension High School in front of you. You have some sequel shows of shows that were kind of popular but not really. So you have
they're doing stuff like Pastel Memories, Bang Dream, Domestic Girlfriend,
right?
The second season of Real Girl.
Yeah. So
they also have the Promised Neverland.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you look at something like this and you see the big hits. Like, if I was High Dive, I'd see this, do some research, and be like, okay, we need to put our best translators on these particular shows. So you look at shows like, you look at Promised Neverland. You've got to have a good translator on that immediately. So, and if you only have like 10 translators, right? So, like, you got to kind of use your staff wisely. So,
right,
you put your best ones on the shows that you think you're going to do better. That way, you succeed in those categories. And then you get a show like Dimension High School where you're like, I mean, we got it. We got to put somebody on it. Let's put a newbie, or let's put someone that's, has less experience on this show. Even though it might technically be a harder show to translate. And technically you should put your more skilled translators on those shows. Due to popularity and financial reasons, you would put them on the lower quality show from the appearance, since you have only done a base level amount of research, and I'm sure that there's not much research to do on Dimension High School. So,
well, it's probably
considering
it's probably also just not as something that's going to like really, really grab people's attention advertising wise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess long story short is I would love it for Dimension High School to be something that I really enjoy watching, but from a perspective of format, its focus, the kind of cultural and language barrier there, and then also the issue of translation, it's kind of hard for me to really get invested in it and to care much beyond like a novelty perspective, which is a bummer. I would really like to see something like this succeed, but it's really not something that I am exactly jonesing to watch a bunch more about.
Let me ask you, how many episodes have you guys seen individually?
Oh, I've seen one episode.
One.
Okay. Because I am interested to see if Dimension High School is one of those shows where like it has the shittiest first episode, but then it like for some reason like while they were making the show they were like, oh, we actually kind of realized that we goofed, and then they like not necessarily turn it around from like a 6 to a 10, but they at least make it like a little bit more bearable in later episodes.
Sure. So it's entirely possible, but given the preview for the next episode, it seems as though the way in which they're framing this is that it is always going to be this kind of quiz-like structure sort of thing, which, again, I'm sure it probably works to some degree in Japan with an actual Japanese audience.
In the original Japanese, yeah.
Right, yeah, and like, I mean, they obviously wouldn't keep doing shows like this if they didn't have some degree of draw, so there is definitely some merit to having something like this, and I think it's very cool, but it seems like from my perspective as someone who has these sets of experiences and this lack of, other language training and such, it's not really something I'm going to invest a whole lot of time in. Like, I'm definitely wanting to at least watch one more episode to see if the first episode was this weird anomaly.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely check out another episode at some point, but it's not high on my list of priorities right now.
Right. It really is such a shame.
Yeah, there is a lot this season.
There's a lot of like genuinely like you should be watching this kind of shows. So like it's totally fine to just pass up something like this. It really is a shame though, because like my like super like weird conspiracy theory that this is an edutainment type of scenario would work so well, because there was one of the dramas that I watched in Spanish class that was a mystery. And at the end of the episode, they would just, like, the woman would just address the camera, fourth wall, and just be like, bueno. And then, like, launch into this thing of, you have all the facts, here's all the things, what happened? And then, like, would give you a little bit of time to figure it out, which is very much almost exactly sans the Spanish, what the Professor Layton animated show was, which was fantastic. I loved that show. It was so adorable. I loved it. And it's kind of a shame that this is actually not that, and it's just bad.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're basically looking for a fun time quiz show, just watch Layton Mystery Journal.
Yeah, or if you're wanting to do one that's like quiz adjacent, you could do like Fastest Finger.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you're looking to watch a quiz show, please.
That show needs more respect.
First.
Absolutely.
It needs a second season, is what it needs.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good. So don't sleep on that one, guys.
I would fund a second season of Fastest Finger first. It's easily in my top 5.
So I'm curious, because I kind of want to knock this out of the park, or knock this out of the way quickly, because I don't think it's going to take that long. Have either of you seen? I'm going to butcher this. Kemurikusa?
I have.
Is that mayonnaise friends, as you've been calling it?
No, that's not marinara sauce friends.
What?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Linguini ladies? Like, which one is this?
No, this is...
Oh, fuck.
Wait, linguini ladies? Pardon?
What show are we talking about?
I wish that was a real show.
It's the one that, it's the sci-fi show, CG, that the writer / director.
Oh, the Kemono Friends.
The Kemono Friends guy, yeah.
Okay.
Wait, what?
I am.
Yeah.
We talked about this, Kyle. We talked about this.
I told you this, Kyle. I told you this.
I'm so sorry. I totally forgot. Like, I've been working like a ton of fucking hours at work, and I
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Right. Your job is like 5 times as hard as mine, and that's like objectively correct, and I understand that, and I'm sorry, Matt.
Okay.
Anyways,
okay.
So this is so after the dude was kicked off of Kemono Friends, this is what this dude made. Okay, that explains a few things, and I don't mean that in a bad way. So let me ask you, Matt, because I'm interested. How did you feel about this show?
I didn't like it. I wanted it to end after 12 minutes.
Could you tell us how you really feel, Matt?
That is how I really feel, so... Okay, so... this is what I'm going to say about this show. This is about the only good commentary I have about this show.
Damn!
So... I really like this guy. Like, respect, for all that he's gone through for
Kemono
with
Friends
Kemono Friends
and all the shit that he put up with.
And getting, his second season taken away from him by Kadokawa, like, that was shitty. I'm so sorry.
Especially after having
Not even my
almost
fault.
single-handedly worked on a lot of the show himself.
Yeah. And, brought back Kemono Friends from the grave, pretty much. So, like...
Listen, there is a fucking penguin out there that's in love with a cardboard cutout because of this guy.
I know.
We need to thank him and applaud him. Oh no, that's right. You had to remind... Okay.
Yeah. So, anyway, with all respect to him, the work that he's created, it has the same charm, but the setting absolutely works against the show.
Hmm.
Like the same quirky animation that would find endearing about Kemono Friends just doesn't really work in a serious show, or a show that's trying to be serious.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
It just doesn't work, and it kind of feels like almost a hollow shell of what, like, and maybe that's a little too much, but I think that it definitely has the same heart. It's not Kemono Friends.
Zach, have you heard anything about this show?
See, that's the thing, man. I haven't even heard people discuss this show.
Honestly, that's probably why. But here's the thing, is that I watched one episode, and maybe it's just because I was plastered while I was doing it. But I did not think that this was a good show. I found it endearing in its own way, but not in a way in which I would watch more than 2 episodes of it.
Yeah,
like I skimmed the first episode of it.
Mm-hmm.
I was vaguely interested just from the standpoint of the history, given like the directorial shift and things like that.
Right.
But I'm very much in the same boat of the animation style is interesting, and the way in which it presents the tone and atmosphere, and as one of you said, I think Matt said, the heart, it's very interesting. But yeah, I don't feel like the Girl's Last Ride or something like that kind of atmosphere, this weird post-apocalyptic like emptiness, fits this sort of show. It's
Right.
just it's odd. It feels tonally dissonant in a way that doesn't work with what I feel like it wants to accomplish. It feels as though it is trying to split itself between 2 separate ideas of what the show wants to be, and without finding some degree of reconciliation, I don't think it's going to be much of a success of what it wants to try to be, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah, I think that makes sense. For me personally, I did enjoy the world, if not the tone, I enjoyed the world of this, because I thought that was mysterious and interesting, of this red mist and the bugs that are coming from it, and then you have this human, and because there's a human, that means that there's history here, but we just don't know about it. And I liked that the characters themselves have a lot of that kimono style, where they're very endearing immediately. But that being said, that's about as much as I can really say, because there's a lot of other things about this that just don't really work that well. It wants to tell a whole bunch of jokes in a very dreary kind of world. It wants to have this weird sort of like traditionalist sexist kind of thing, where it's like there's this girl that's in love with this guy simply because he exists, and then she thinks that that's a curse because she heard from someone that like all men put a curse on you, and it's like, oh, but it's actually love, and it's like, it's fucking dumb. There's that. And the animation is not rock solid. Like, it worked in Kemono Friends because it was weird and campy and endearing and very much personal. In this, it just doesn't work as well. That being said, I think that this person, give him another team and give him another project to work on, could do amazing things. But I think
you mean like Kemono Friends 2?
Okay, but like outside of that, I think, because obviously he's not going to get that. So
I know.
And it's shitty.
We can dream.
Right. but I think if you give this guy another team and allow him another series that is not like super serious, I think that he could do a lot of great things to further these types of 3D CGI shows.
Give him Pingu in the city.
Fuck
Problem
yes.
solved.
That's the solution.
Yes.
That's absolutely it.
I would absolutely be down with that, and I was going to talk about Pingu in the City here. But
Heck.
it's a good show. Shut up.
It doesn't air this season.
It is. It is.
It's
a
actually
leftover from last season.
Oh my god, that doesn't count. I mean, it does,
it
but
so
it doesn't.
does. Fuck off.
Yeah, fuck you. We're probably going to talk about Index too, and I haven't caught up with that.
No,
No one's caught up with it.
Oh man. Yeah, no, I think the ideas going into the show are really interesting, but the actual implementation of those is just not great, and that's really unfortunate. Even plastered, when I got done with the 2 episodes of this show that I saw, I was like, it's really just unfortunate, is what I was thinking. Because this could be, given a good enough team and a good enough scriptwriter, this could be fantastic. This could actually, like, the mystery and ideas themselves could be interesting. But the actual implementation is just not there at all. So, and I hate to be super negative because I hate being negative, but that's just unfortunate. I do recommend watching like an episode or 2 because I think it's fun. At least to like get a little tipsy, and watch like an episode or 2. But that's as far as you should really go with this. Yeah.
Yeah, I
don't know.
Unfortunately, good idea with poor implementation seems to be the theme of this season.
You know, for the things that aren't exactly good.
Yes, for that's the thing. There are a lot of shows that are fantastic that we haven't really got to yet.
Right.
But that's the thing. Like every show that I've watched so far that I haven't really enjoyed hasn't been just outright bad. It's just that there's a good anime in there somewhere, and it just hasn't been presented well.
Which is really interesting to think about from like a seasonal perspective, that you have all these shows that are not shit shows. They're not shitstorms. They're just shows that could be good, and then just unfortunately were not.
To be fair, I've skipped a lot of the shows that I figured
absolutely.
were just shit.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, Matt, let's hear from our resident. I've watched everything in the season so far. Has there been anything that is truly just a dumpster fire?
For a man who works 70 hours a week, I legitimately don't know how you ever have time to watch anime.
Oh, it's magical, trust me.
Look at this guy. He's magical.
It's magical.
As far as like really bad, it depends on. Okay, so how are we going to define bad?
Don't get semantic on me.
No, I know. We talked about this before the podcast. How I hate semantical discussions, but I want to know how. What's your definition of bad? Are we talking about like just production and like everything about it being bad?
It does not have redeeming factors.
I will watch an quote unquote animated show that's more of an animatic that is literally like 2 frames per second. If it's at least like funny or has like an interesting story.
So it has to have some redeeming quality.
I will. If it has redeeming quality, I will watch it. If it is a pile of trash that actively hurts this world, is blatantly sexist, is like horribly racist, I will not watch that shit, and I hope no one ever does. But hopefully, that's not something that you've seen this season.
I would be a little surprised, but.
No. I mean, I haven't seen anything that was a true dumpster fire, I guess, in that respect.
Okay, but in terms of like shows that just don't really have any redeeming qualities or any real reason to watch them.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know I'm setting the bar real low. So if you want to throw out some other shows that are like slightly above the bar.
I guess we want to go slightly above the bar.
Oh boy.
Let's do Rinshi Ekoda-chan. Like this is like a 26-minute show that is a lie.
Is a lie?
It's a lie?
It's a lie. I would not say that if I was. Trust me. Let me explain this. So, if you read the synopsis, it kind of seems like one of those funny, like weird ass. I don't know how to describe it.
The synopsis, and this is going to sound really strange, the synopsis reminds me of Tatami Galaxy.
Yeah. So, it's kind of in this same... Let me put this in the same realm as Virtual Sand Looking. When you look at it, it kind of works in this weird way for the entire 3 minutes it's airing. Now, I just said it was a 26-minute show, right?
Yeah.
So, where's the other 23 minutes going? Well, let me tell you, folks. So, the last 23 minutes are dedicated to an interview with the staff on the show.
What?
And the voice actress.
Hold on. What?
What?
Yes. Yep. So the first episode, this is the only episode I watched, it had an interview with the voice actress and the director. And they just kind of talked about their work on the show, their previous works, what they thought about the show. This is 23 minutes long. I skipped it. Yeah, well, I skimmed through it, I guess I should say. Because I watched about 3 minutes of it and I was like, oh, well, this is kind of an interesting idea. And then I was like, oh, there's 20 minutes to go. I don't have time for this. And I was, because I already didn't care about the show as it was.
Yeah.
So I was just watching it kind of just like, whatever. Just say I watched it. And then I was like, okay, well, that was a weird little short. And then, yeah, I got all that. So I was like, this is not what I'm here for.
That's fascinating to me.
And the funny thing is, it's all translated. It's probably the only staff interview with the creators on a show that's actually ever going to get translated, just because it's part of the simulcast. So that's kind of interesting.
Oh my gosh. I'm impressed. Never mind. This is getting a 10 from me.
Yeah, that's the thing. You kind of actually sold the show to me.
Yeah. Because this sounds like the longest con. This sounds like the biggest troll, where it's just like a bunch of assholes that are so fucking full of themselves, or they're being ironic, that made a 3-minute show and then they spend 23 minutes talking about how fucking great they are.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm real here for this.
I want to watch. Okay, I will not say that I'll watch a full a full series of this. I will watch like maybe half of an episode.
You go like seriously. I mean, sit down, watch the 3-minute short, and then watch like 5 minutes of the interview. Like, it is fascinating. I wish kind of they would actually translate interviews of good anime. Since no one does that. But, I don't know how to call this progress, or if they just got really smart with like, aha, this is how we're going to get those translated, guys. We're going to put it in this show.
They paid an arm and a leg to get the licensing for this to America, because they're like, we want them to know how fucking great we are.
Wow. I feel sorry for the translator.
Oh, I know. 23 minutes of this shit, especially if it's just like total bullshit the entire time. Matt,
Oh, it
please
is.
tell me.
God.
Oh, it totally is. Like, at one point, the voice actress talks about, like, her work on other games. Like, it's literally like 2-minute dialogue. And it's just like, this is not even relevant to the show. This is just literally you guys talking in a room.
Oh, fucking 10 out of 10. It's the podcast, the anime.
It's the podcast. That's pretty awesome. Okay.
Oh, I adore this.
Oh, I need to see this now. Matt, I set the bar so low and you surpassed it so far.
Yeah, I don't know what you were trying to do by talking to us about this, but I don't think you succeeded in your initial goal.
I didn't like it.
No, I can totally understand why, too. It's bullshit. Mm-hmm. It is absolute bullshit, but at the same time, it's the kind of bullshit that I want to watch.
Yeah, it sounds like a very weird anti-show.
Yeah.
Anti-show.
It's like one of those people that is like so far into postmodernism that they just go fucking like whole hog on that shit. They're like, so what even is a show?
Well,
truly.
I mean, we were getting into those sorts of questions. So when you said earlier that Dimension High School was the only live-action show, this one immediately came to mind. I was like, can I consider this live-action? Like, technically, it's part of the show, but it's not?
Yeah, I mean, like, by definition, it is.
Yeah. So, anyway, it's interesting.
It certainly sounds like it.
So that was, you never know what you're gonna get into when you start watching all the shows.
This is the secret hit of the season. I might change my love of Pingu in the City over to this show.
Okay, now, hold on. We don't want to go too far here, Kyle.
Wow.
You don't want to cheat on your beloved.
It's true. I would never cheat on my beloved.
What did Pingu ever do to you?
Wow.
Yeah. What other? Because you've watched way more than we have.
I mean, there's nothing exactly that I would pin as absolute garbage.
Is there anything
okay.
that's because I don't think that we're gonna have enough time to talk about literally every show that came out this season. Is there anything else that you'd want to shout out necessarily that like for a fact neither of us have seen? Whether it's shouting it out because it's good or because, oh my gosh, let me tell you about this.
Yeah, do you have anything that you are going to want to be like I am to handshakers, in that you are the man that lives at the bottom of the hill in a shack whose life mission is to scream at people to not go up this hill?
You're the Buddhist monk that's begging people to not take the journey upon this demonic hill.
I mean, there's nothing that's that horrible. Like, honestly, there's a lot of things that I was like, but nothing like super horrible that I would scream at them if they started watching.
Okay. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
Along the similar lines, because I can't imagine that it's like the best show ever created. How was Girly Air Force?
It's okay.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of what it says on the tin, honestly.
I'm just picturing like Michael Bluth opening the bag that says "Dead Bird, Don't Look," and he's just like, I don't know what I expected. It's a dead bird.
Yeah, I mean, it's the girls are pilots. There's something about the JSDF. Like, there's a guy that wants to enroll into it, and the girls are flying planes, and he is like buds with them.
Yeah, okay. That's like the worst or best that I could have expected. Moving on.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing remarkable, but it's okay.
Let me ask you
guess.
about this, though, because I know neither of us have watched this, or at least I assume that you haven't watched the first season, Zach. The titular and amazing, I think it's called Bang Dream.
The what?
The CGI
Bang Dream.
Yeah, the CGI band girls show.
Frank's Beam.
What?
What?
Bang Dream.
Oh, that show. I don't know
Yeah.
anything about
Are
that
we
show. Why
playing
are you asking me about
charades?
that?
What the fuck is going on here? Are you okay?
Thanks,
I don't know.
Discord. I love you.
Yeah. You cut out there for a second. Sorry, what?
So this is like a Bandori style show, right?
That's the show.
That's the this is Bandori the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's...
I literally know nothing except for the amazing crab walk gif that I saw online.
I'm sorry. What?
There was...
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I need to show you guys this. The one where all of a sudden they just like do a mid squat and then just go bah, 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 and like walk around flipping their hands up in the air. And then there's the other clip of one of the girls just saying "fuck you" to gravity and doing some weird ass shit.
Oh, yeah, that
Amazing.
happens. That just happened.
Yeah. No, this is the show then. Okay, I was just getting confirmation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the show. She just jumps
Okay.
out of a 2-story window and does like 6 backflips and then dabs. Yeah, that totally happens.
I didn't know that she dabbed.
It's kind of like a dab. It's like a half dab.
Oh, that's good.
But yeah, that's that show.
Is
that
the
show's
first
pretty good.
season also CGI?
No.
What?
No. It is not CGI.
I'm
The
confused.
first, but okay, all right. Gonna blow some people's minds. People are gonna hate me for this. It's
Okay.
better animated than the first season. Unfortunately,
Shots fired? Question mark.
well,
True weeaboos want to know your location.
Yeah, I can feel it right now. Yeah, yeah, it's CGI. It's actually not too bad. Takes a little bit to getting used to, I guess. But honestly, it looks fine. I don't know why people hate it. So
everything that I saw about the show online, at least as far as our circle on Twitter, people were loving this show, and they kept sharing moments from it. I'm like, this is fantastic. I'm so sad I missed out on the first season.
So the community goes nuts for this show. It's kind of one of those things. It's so different.
It looked like, and you'll have to forgive me because I'm saying heretical and sacrilegious things. It looked like the dumbest shit in the best of ways.
It's pretty fun.
Okay.
It's not exactly.
That's a fun way of saying it's dumb shit.
It is though. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's completely dumb, but.
Yeah, but that's like part of the fun of it, I would assume.
That's like the entire point of the show, though, is these characters are stupid with each other, and they're just like, it's like, hey, bud, what's up? Hey! And then they do the little hand motion, and they look down, and they're like, oh, you looked, you know? That doesn't actually happen in the show. That's just an example.
You literally just described every interaction that I've had with a dude that was at a 10 whenever they were, like, totally high out of their asses. Like...
But... honestly, yeah, like, the show is just like what you'd imagine from a bunch of girls that are in different bands from each other, and they're like, hey, we're gonna have a band, and then they play performances, and then they go to school, and they meet their other band friends, and they're like, hey, what's up? And then there's other bands, and
this really
they
isn't
interact
that
with each
different
other.
from that guy that I knew that was really high off his ass, because he was like, dude, let's start a band.
Except he wasn't an anime girl.
Well, he thought he was.
Okay, listen. You can think you're an anime girl all you want. That ain't how that works. You don't just get those credentials.
Yes, I have it changed on my birth certificate. I am anime girl.
I am anime girl.
Okay.
But... yeah,
that sounds fun. To be honest, because I don't know if I'll ever be able to see the first season, and I may. Could I start with the second season?
You probably. It seems like as far as we know. All right, so the little bit of backstory.
First off, who's we? Secondly,
I'm talking the fandom in general. I'm
Okay.
gonna say we. I'm gonna include myself in this, even though I'm not directly associated with them. I'm just gonna put myself there. I'm just going to say
Okay.
that, in general, it's been determined that there's not really a whole lot of plot elements from Season 1. The only thing you really need is character knowledge, which is not really something that's too crucial because you can pick up on that.
Yeah.
If anything, what I would recommend is to go watch, like, the 3-minute short show on YouTube of this.
3-minute short show?
Yeah.
So, are we saying essentially you just need to know what dumbasses do what dumb shit and you're good?
Pretty much. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, perfect.
I'm
totally.
And once you do that, yeah, you can watch second season just fine.
Shit. All right,
You got
I'm
it.
in. I'm here for it. You sold me. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah. The short series is it's completely on YouTube, and it's like 26 episodes of 3 minutes each, and yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh,
you can
I
clear
am
it out.
so
And
into
there's little
this.
chibi versions. It's amazing.
Oh yes.
Yeet. All right. Oh man, look at us being a happy little Bondori family.
Matt.
Next thing you know, I'll be spending like $50 a paycheck.
Oh no. Okay, it's not $50 a paycheck. It is. Oh shit.
It's not $50.
Hold on, let me redo the.
It's $49.95.
Hold on,
Matt, I wasn't singling anyone out here, Matt. I wasn't calling anyone out.
I have to redo the math. I'll get back to you on that.
Matt, this is an intervention.
This is bad radio. We can't do this.
The
We can't.
There
do
is no
this on
bad
air.
radio here.
Legitimately, this might be the next group watch for us. Is watching this together because I'm so in, Matt. You've sold me.
It's good.
I mean, to be fair, watching like idol shows and stuff that is idol adjacent is absolutely not out of our group watch wheelhouse. Like, I think one of the first shows we ever watched was like Idol Master.
Oh yeah, that was one of the first shows we didn't all.
Yeah, in your cold ass apartment, Kyle.
I'm so sorry. The one that had a heater that didn't work, so we just kind of all huddled together.
Yep. The one where we did penguin warmth.
Yeah, that was.
And that was really just for me. That wasn't for warmth.
No, I'm totally in. Matt, you've sold me.
Yeah, it's good.
Is there... So, we've actually gone through primarily most of the 3D CGI shows. By happenstance, I would argue.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. That was...
Oh, actually, yeah, you're right.
It's kind of very weird.
I guess just to kind of round it out, are there any other 3D CGI shows that we want to mention before we move on to like some of the other shows?
There
is that one.
Can I just talk about Wise real quick?
You mean Handshakers too?
Yeah, I had a lot of things to say about Wise, and I kind of put it together in a post.
You made like the second longest post on our site about why you just should not watch this show.
It's not the second longest.
No.
It's about like the fifth longest, but yeah.
I was going to say there's no fucking way it's the second longest. Absolutely not.
I know at least 3 posts that are longer.
Yeah, and I apologize for all 3 of them.
One of them's mine.
So here's the thing. Yeah, if you flash back about maybe 2 years ago, I talked about Handshakers on a podcast that we had. And I had some strong words to say about it. I think I said something like it's a visual abortion. Which
I think you actually did say that. I recall it.
Oh, fuck, I forgot.
No. But I'm very not proud of saying that because over the years, I have come to think differently about it. It still looks real bad, and it's really disorienting, and it's vertigo-inducing to watch. And Wise is no different. I guess to basically summarize the thing, Wise is the sequel season no one asked for, but we still got. And I don't know why it's here. I don't know who asked for this. Handshakers was not received well. It didn't sell well. Its Blu-ray sales are bad. People have pretty universally been like, what the fuck is this? It has not even really achieved the status of you watch this because it's bad and it's fun. It is one that is a bad show that you just avoid. It's in like glass slip category for people.
The way that your post described this was as if Tommy Wiseau came out of retirement to make a sequel to The Room.
I mean, well, no, because there is cause for a sequel to The Room.
That's
true.
People
would eat that shit up.
Right,
people
because
are not going to eat
funny.
up a second season of Handshakers. It's just, I guess the thing about it all is that Handshakers was a fascinating experiment in a 2D, 3D hybrid of animation style. It was a really neat idea. I had never seen anything like it before. It was this very colorful, bombastic show that was bad, but I liked what it was trying to do. And the fact of the matter is, Wise is out 2 years after Handshakers aired. And like really they probably had a year after Handshakers came out to learn from mistakes before they actually start on production of Wise.
Sober up,
and,
you know.
Yeah, and it seems to me that they learned pretty much nothing from it because the animation style is still wild and weird, and I would really... Again, I can't stress this enough. I like what it's trying to do, but it is still, it's difficult to watch. Again, some of the camera movement is just like, it will make you sick almost. It is just bizarre why this show is constructed the way it is. I understand that it's still supposed to be something experimental and weird and different, and I applaud it for that. I applaud it for trying something new, and I don't think we should ever shit on a show or a production company for trying something that is just bizarre and outside the realm of what it's standard. Because I mean, like Kemono Friends did that, and people went batshit over it. Like, it has a cult following at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't think that there's ever any point where we should like look at a show and laugh and say, haha, look at it failing to do this new thing. Like, fuck you. So many shows don't try to do anything new.
Yeah,
it's
never
rad
want
that there's this
to...
attempt to try to do something.
Right. I never want to get into this situation where I like start episode 1 of a show and like it's going to be so much fun to watch this fail. Like, no, I want these things to succeed. It's more fun if they do.
Yeah, but just the fact of the matter is, Wise has learned nothing from the issues that plagued Handshakers. The animation is still very rough. I still don't give a flying fuck about any of the characters. I understand that by the end of the first episode, we're not supposed to have a full picture of all the characters, and we're not supposed to be fully invested in them, but you should at least give me enough to actually give a damn about your cast.
Right.
And man, I just don't care. None of these characters are even remotely interesting, because we have seen these characters 1,000 times before in 1,000 different shows. They are all these very weird amalgamations of tropes and pre-used character sets, and it's kind of just infuriating to see that so little care has actually been put into putting together these characters for such an ambitious, potentially interesting show.
Like, legitimately, and I haven't seen Wise because I took your advice.
Don't.
I watched it.
But I, like, two things about Handshakers itself is that when I watched that show, and I know people say this all the time about various different shows because they want to show how much they actually, like, find it distasteful. Legitimately, I felt physically sick after watching Handshakers.
That's what I mean. When I say the scenes will give you some sense of vertigo, it's not a joke, and it's not something to shit on the show. Like, it's actually sometimes difficult to watch physically.
Like, if someone loaded this up into like a VR headset, it would be a form of torture that they would use in Guantanamo Bay. Like, it's really bad as far as like the cinematography goes. But then on top of that, it's one of those shows in which, like, I have legitimately, like, wanted to shut it off so quickly because of how horrible the characters are. It's like if you took the YouTube algorithm and applied it to, like, writing a character, both a villain and a hero for your story. And, like, the algorithm that knows nothing about humans, human interaction, or human kindness, and then they write a character. That's what that fucking show is. I mean,
essentially, and... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, not to interrupt, you know those Twitter accounts that, you know, they do the thing where they say, the bot has read 1,000 of these stories, and they, and they spit out a script, or whether it's actually them writing it. Or,
you have, like, bot.
I forced this bot to watch 1,000 hours of anime made Wise.
Yeah. That's pretty much what it is. It's like the bot that watched all the episodes of Batman the Animated Series and had that one weird story where Batman fell in love with the Penguin and had amazing sex with him. Like, it's just weird.
Yeah, but that's kind of what the characters remind me of. And I know a lot around here we say a lot that, like, characters are tropes because that's kind of just what we do. But I think in this case, like, it's absolutely valid because there's nothing. Mm-hmm. There is nothing else to these characters.
You could
and
there's literally nothing else.
That's the thing. Like, again, in everything I've said here, I'm trying my best to not actually use any kind of hyperbole, because I think it's important to actually talk about this show in realistic terms and not just do a megaton shit on it like I did Handshakers, because I've really had a lot of time to mull this thing over. And yeah, like you said, Matt, they really are just tropes. Our main character, Yukiya Araki, is just this sad boy music producer that is either very selective in hearing or just dumb because he doesn't pick up on any kind of romantic advances. Our one of our main supporting casts, Haruka, the girl that has a huge thing for Yukiya, literally exists in the first episode. Her only character trait is that she's in love with Yukiya. There's nothing beyond her. It's like she likes music and she likes Yukiya, and that's it. There is a whole dual set of other handshakers that's a lesbian couple, and the only thing to that is that one is kind of more just like friendly with the other, and the other is like, I just love you, and that's all that there is to me. And it's just, every single character is so bland and one-dimensional that there is absolutely no reason to care about them. And again, I know that that's what a whole season is for. I know that there's plenty of time to develop characters, but it's just, it doesn't inspire any confidence in me because it just doesn't seem like it has taken any lessons from its predecessor season. It just seems like it is a rehash of what has happened in the first season.
I want to go back to one of the first things that you said, just real quick, because otherwise this is going to go on forever.
Yeah.
So, you made a comment at the very beginning of this segment, if you can call it that, about who asked for this? Who asked for this sequel? And it made me think, there's a lot of these people out here that believe that Blu-ray sales, merch sales, blah, 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 game sales, simulcast, whatever. All this stuff, that numbers, basically sales, marketing, numbers, whatever. They look at this, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of boards out there. There's 4chan, you've got Reddit, you've got all these other, like, casual fans, you've got, hardcore fans. People say they're hardcore fans, whatever. Doesn't matter. The point is that they say that these numbers affect what sequels, and it's kind of almost become what's the word? It's like it's something that people believe that isn't
just
actually
like a
true.
Standard view at this point.
Yeah,
it's a cliche, a stereotype.
It's a self-fulfilling
prophecy.
Thank you.
Something like that.
Yeah, I'm big enough to throw it down, regardless of the fact that we can't words.
Yeah, none. I don't think any of those words are the right thing. But the point is that people believe this, that these are the things that drive anime to get sequels, or at least a lot of people believe that. Obviously, we don't think that because, not saying that we're more educated, but we just know better because usually, production committees run all this and whatever.
The Backloggers 2019. I come from another class.
I never said that. But yeah,
Backloggers 2019. I never said that.
But we know that these things come from production committees, things that are typically out of our control, things that aren't about Blu-rays, sales. So there's probably a lot of people out there that are probably thinking, how the heck did this get sales if they didn't buy the Blu-rays? Or they're just thinking, how the heck did this get a second season? And then saying, go buy the Blu-rays for your favorite show because it'll help you get a second season, even though those 2 points counteract each other.
That's not the case.
Anyway, the point I was trying to make was basically, I hope people think about that a little bit and shows that it doesn't matter how much merch you sell or buy. It doesn't matter. It's going to get a second season anyway. So
yeah,
buy what you want, basically. Don't buy it because you feel like you have to support it.
As much as you can, vote with your wallet, there's only such an extent that actually matters. And then you get shows like Wise that, as much as you voted with your wallet, it doesn't matter because they still got a second season.
Yeah. So, to be fair, part of Wise's appeal and draw is that a lot of Japanese DJs and music producers have worked to collaborate on this. There's a pretty long list of actual
I'm so sorry.
There's a lot of oh shit!
This is getting more interesting the more I hear about this.
If you told me that,
God damn it! There's a dude that worked on Samurai Champloo that is involved in this.
I'm so sorry.
I can't even.
I mean, I guess they signed up for it, so
it's not. It's not Fat John. I don't remember, but someone. There's a lot of folks that are involved in this. Basically, I'm not going to talk anymore about this because this could go on forever and we would go into a cyclical point, and I'm kind of just done talking about it. I don't really think there's much more to benefit from it because I really don't recommend that you watch this show, which is ultimately comes down to my main point. It's a bummer that I can't recommend this show to anyone because... well, no. And I'm not trying to be shitty or anything. Like, I would really love for this show to be something that I could say, hey, you should really go watch this show. It's doing very cool things. The fact is, it's not. It doesn't give a shit about its characters. It really doesn't give a shit about the women in the show. Ugh. It absolutely has no perspective on how it wants to visually approach itself. Story and plot is just an absolute snooze fest. Everything about it is just bad. And the thing about that is, I want a show like Wise to succeed because, again, it's doing really cool things with the anime medium, but God, it just sucks.
Yeah.
And I just, it's maddening to me because something like this could be really cool, but it just fucking sucks.
Yeah, and I would like to point out to anybody that's listening to this podcast that Zach, more than any of us at the Backloggers, absolutely is totally supportive of 3D CGI shows. Absolutely wants them to succeed. Like, because you've been the person that we have gone to personally in order to be like, hey, I haven't seen this show. Have you seen it? And absolutely you have. As far as like 3D CGI shows. And like the ones that were like, is that good? And you're like, yeah, let me tell you something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't know why this has kind of become like the slot that I found within this group, but I mean, yeah, that's the thing, and it's just that's just it. Like, I'm really interested in how companies can use these kinds of technologies to advance anime in different ways and to kind of branch out the medium, because I really think it would be cool if there was a standard set of like CG, really good 3D CG shows alongside our traditional like 2D hand animated stuff or things of that nature.
Yeah.
I just, man, this ain't it. This just ain't it. And that's really all I have to say. It's disappointing. I'd like to see it do well, but it really just hasn't learned from any of the mistakes of Handshakers itself. And it really just looks like the only silver lining I can say to this is that at least our female lead talks before episode like 10.
Oh my gosh.
So
I know,
anyway,
I know
that's
exactly what you're saying, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm kind of just frustrated talking about it. I don't think anyone wants to hear anything.
I think that's why it's gone on
show.
so long is just, the frustration that you feel, especially as someone who like had all intentions wanted this to succeed.
I think we should give you a round of applause. A hand.
Stop. I'm leaving this cast if you do this.
Okay.
I'm leaving.
Nuh-uh. All right, let's move on.
Hands up.
Hands up.
So
you're not clapping.
So as far as
shaking.
getting outside of our block of CG 3GI shows,
unintentionally,
accidentally fucked up those words. The I would like to point out just real quick as a kind of transition into better shows. I did end up watching Bermuda Triangle Colorful Pastrale, which Matt, I'm sure that you saw because you saw everything, you know everything, and you've seen all anime.
Wait, okay, so is that actually good?
If you like. Okay. If you like,
I mean, if this is a yes or no question.
If you like the idea and concept of a cute girls doing cute things show where fucking nothing happens, like me, and you like the idea of mermaids, and you've probably participated or at least looked at all of the mermaid blogs on Tumblr, like me, you will enjoy this show simply for the fact that it is cute mermaids doing cute things. Everything else about this show is a travesty because it's just not. It's just a fucking nothing show. It's my cute show of the season where I'm like, I'm so stressed. I have so much anxiety because of my multiple disorders that I just want to curl into a ball and watch something that requires no brain power. That's what this show is. Outside of that, it does nothing. But
that's a bummer.
it is, and it's a major bummer because I love the idea. Like, I have been so in love with for a long time these type of demi-humans, or like a better term for it is just these like monster boyfriend, monster girlfriend, monster girl, monster boy like type of shows. I love those. Those are absolutely my jam. Like, that's my 3D CGI for you, Zach.
Yeah, I never actually really thought about it, but that super is your wheelhouse.
So, like, I love those shows. And I wanted this to be, like, not even good, just like, man, I can just go home and relax to this like it's my fucking Eurocamp. But no, it's not, and that's a travesty. But at the same time, if that's your thing, if you like mermaids, if you like cute girls doing cute things shows, watch it. Otherwise, just stay the hell away from it and move on to something else. There's a lot of great shows that we're about to talk about that we have not, because we're so stuck on the ones that we hated. So moving on to those.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it feels like we need an intermission.
Let me
almost.
I mean, if you're watching the podcast, you can pause and like go pee or something. Let me talk about one that I absolutely wanted to talk about because it's one that's absolutely fantastic and literally everyone and their mother should go see, unless they're not into like dark and edgy stories. Dororo. That's a fucking good show. Like, I'm astounded
that it got an anime adaptation because this thing is older than the foundations of the earth.
Really?
Is it really that old? I didn't have any idea.
I didn't know. Yeah.
Dororo's pretty fucking old. Like, I think like 60s old.
That's amazing.
Really?
That makes
Hold
me
on, man.
so
Don't quote me on that.
You were getting me so excited, man. Don't do this to me.
Yeah, the manga started in 67.
Yep, that's what the origin is. So
I love that. I absolutely 100% love that because I love adaptations of older stuff and then bringing it into a newer frame. But Dororo itself, even outside of that fact, is just good. Everyone should watch this. It's one of those shows that is definitely dark. It's one of those that takes place in a feudal Japan kind of situation and definitely takes a lot of like really dark turns and has a lot of dark ideas. But it has one of the best fucking stories and setups I have seen of this season or the past 3. And it is just such a solid show. Animation-wise, music-wise, oh my gosh, that OP is amazing. But even the basic soundtrack is amazing. And then you have just these wonderful, ideas associated with the way that it introduces each like monster of the week for each episode, and the way it introduces the world that this exists in, and how dark but also like incredibly human it is. And just this wonderful relationship between this person who is all senses blind, deaf, cannot feel, cannot taste, cannot touch, like cannot smell. You have this person and then this small young kid who for the longest time I thought was a girl, but apparently is a boy. And their relationship together as they're going through this journey, where this person who has lost all senses because of a demon pact that his father did is slowly gaining those back by killing those demons. Such a great setup, great animation, fantastic story.
It's almost Katanagatari-esque.
Honestly,
Almost.
yes.
Almost.
It's like if he took Katanagatari and then mixed in a lot of the darker, and you're gonna hate me for this, a lot of the darker influences and tone from Dark Souls.
Why would I hate you for that? I never even played Dark Souls.
There's a lot of people that hate whenever people compare it to Dark Souls, but the fact
it's the Dark Souls of anime.
It's the Dark Souls of anime.
Right? I'm not saying that. I'm absolutely not saying that. But it's that
Right.
It's that incredibly dark tone of that style of video game, and you have the Katanagatari, feudal Japan, and really interesting animation as far as Katanagatari goes, where you take a lot of these like feudal Japan traditional elements, but then you mix in a lot of modern influences into it. Like I think the OP is an amazing example of that, because it's like this absolutely wonderful modern pop song, but it sounds so good and it's so amazing, and the animation for it is fantastic. But it's a show that's apparently based from a manga in the 60s. Like, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's by Osamu Tezuka, the dude that made Astro Boy, and things along those lines.
Really?
Like, this is some OG stuff, dude. Like, I
Holy
mean, this has a
shit.
pedigree.
Has this never had an adaptation before this point? Is this the first?
It has, actually, in 1969.
Nice.
Like, it is an old anime. It is an old manga that had an old anime adaptation.
You have just made this so much better for me. In the same
I'm glad.
in the same way that like Megalobox, whenever like I researched into the original what is it, Kanji no Nojo? And that story as well as the manga, like I got so excited about the history behind this and the way that this adaptation is treating the original source material and then taking its own version of it. That's exactly what this is. And it's fantastic. And I love it. And I absolutely think if you are okay with darker tones and themes, because this gets real fucking dark at some points, this is absolutely up your alley. This is amazing. Zach, you need to watch this OP at the least, because that hour and 30 minutes will convince you that it's probably the OP of the season.
Hour and 30 minutes?
I'm sorry, I goofed up. A minute and 30. This is like the 6 or 7
minute
time.
and 30 seconds.
Yeah, this is this is the
Look,
6 or 7 time
no.
on the Backloggers podcast that I've goofed that thing up.
No, it's okay. I thought you meant that this was like a triple episode.
Oh,
Or
no.
something.
No. Yeah.
I was like, it didn't do a double, it did a triple.
Oh, wow.
Maybe
It's
a triple.
over.
Triple.
No, yeah, it's a minute and 30 seconds for that opening, and it is fantastic. Like, the animation is solid, but that song is so good.
I mean, I trust your judgment entirely, dude, and I'm very much
Oh man, and even the
curious about it.
Even the ED is good, and as somebody who is like super in love with music, the actual original soundtrack for this anime is fantastic. But gosh, that OP is just so good, and immediately sets you into that tone and style of this anime, and it's fantastic. Anyways, that's my rant about Dororo.
It's not, well, it was a rambling, maybe not a rant, but yeah.
Like, close enough an idea.
Yeah, close enough. R words.
Matt, is there anything that you wanted to say? Because I have talked too much.
I liked it.
Which is actually honestly saying something, because you typically are not a fan of those like more traditional medieval feudal types of scenarios.
Yeah, it's kind of iffy. They're really hard for me to get into, but I can usually enjoy them if I can watch them. It's kind of one of those things. It's kind of the reason why I put Katana Gatari off for so long. So I was like, the setting doesn't really grab me, and watch it, and I'm like, oh, that's actually like the awesomest thing in the world. Like,
yeah,
hello.
That's like legit a really great anime.
Yep. So yeah, this is probably gonna be something like that. It's just there's a barrier that once I push past, it'll be fine. But I like it, so
yeah, it's definitely a show that I've been curious about since I saw that it was actually getting an adaptation. So
Zach, this is
absolutely going to be watching it here soon.
Yes, this is absolutely up your alley.
Good. That makes me real excited.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say on the big long rant about this. But actually, it didn't take as long as the Wise discussion.
Yeah, that felt like it took forever.
I didn't mean for that to take that long. I'm so sorry.
No, I love you, Boo. Don't ever deny that.
It's okay.
These things do happen.
They do happen. Unfortunate thing about Dororo, Amazon show.
Oh no, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. That's just like The Great Passage.
There's like 2 Amazon shows this season. Maybe there's even there's 2. I forgot the one we already talked about was 1 too. The Kemurikusa. Yeah, Amazon show.
Man, that.
Oh, it's a No Automata show too, isn't it? Ah, crap.
It's like
It's because they own that stupid block of freaking anime that always is known to be some of the most interesting anime. Amazon sucks.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done now.
Anime sucks.
Anime sucks. Amazon sucks.
We're going to be completely irrelevant in the future because Amazon will own everything. No, absolutely. If you get the chance, and I know it's going to be a little difficult to watch it, absolutely watch Dororo. If not whenever it's airing, when it releases on Blu-ray, this is absolutely worth it.
Well, there's other ways you can get it too, but
I'm not going to promote those though, Matt.
I'm just saying. That's all I'm gonna say.
Anyway.
No, yeah, that's my way of starting us into like the more interesting and less shitty shows is Dororo, because gosh dang does it deserve it. So what have you guys watched this season?
Oh, dude.
Where do we even begin? Oh my god.
Could I suggest we begin with Kaguya-sama Love is War?
I was actually
okay.
Am I the only one that's watched that?
No, I've watched it.
Zach, I was actually talking about this before you got on the call. It's so weird, like the weird coincidences that occasionally happen in my life. For 3 months, I have had this loaded up on my phone to read the manga. For 3 months. And I never read it because I knew I had no tags for it. I knew nothing about it or nothing about its genre other than the fact that it's like Love is War. And somebody on my Twitter feed had recommended it to me. So so for 3 months I had this on my phone and I never read it. Not even chapter 1. And because legitimately I thought that it was going to be a drama. And it was so hard for me at the time to get into a drama when I already had a lot of drama in my own life. So
oh, you poor thing.
Yeah, so I was like, I'll just wait. But then all of a sudden I saw the first episode a couple days ago. And I was like, this sounds really familiar. And I was not putting 2 and 2 together. And then I was like, this sounds insanely familiar. Where have I seen this story before? And then I looked at my phone, like on one of my random Chrome tabs, and I was like, oh, son of a bitch. I completely missed out on this. Yeah.
So, Matt, I'm curious to hear your specific thoughts on this show.
Yes.
It's good.
That's it, y'all. You heard it here first.
Thanks for
Kaguya-sama Love is War is good. You can stop listening now.
Thanks for watching the Backloggers. I guess we'll see you in a few weeks from now.
Oh, man, this is so unbelievably up my alley with how damn good this is. I haven't been watching a whole lot of like romantic comedies in this particular vein just because it hasn't seemed like there were a lot that competently balanced this incredible consistent wit and just this particular brand of humor to it. I haven't seen anything quite like this since, I mean, honestly, I can't really think of the last show that is similar to Kaguya-sama that I've watched.
I would say, in terms of comedy, I would say Sakamoto.
Yes.
That has no romance in it. But yeah,
there is so romance. There's absolutely romance.
I'm not counting like. Okay, not the same kind.
The classmate's mother trying desperately to win Sakamoto's love and affection.
That's what I was thinking of too.
Is the romance of the century.
That's pretty good.
I don't know if I would define that as a romance or if I would define that as non-consensual. That starts getting like amazingly funny, but also amazingly creepy.
I just kind of think of it as like Sakamoto is like the magical phantom of the universe, and he's just got the cape, and he's like, "I'll be back," and then the mother goes,
like,
"Ah,"
Yeah. It's like if
like,
you
it's
took
kind of like that.
It's like if you took the masked dude from Sailor Moon and then made him hang on the ceiling.
Do you mean Tuxedo Mask?
Please forgive me.
Masked dude Tuxedo Mask?
Yeah, it's been a while. It's like if you took Tuxedo Mask and then made him hang from the ceiling because he desperately did not want to see the main character. Oh my gosh, I still laugh thinking about that episode of Sakamoto.
Oh, there's so many good episodes of Sakamoto.
Yeah.
But
Oh, damn.
anyway, I think that's one of the closer things that you could get to this show.
I think just in terms of the comedic
Yeah.
timing and the specific,
Yeah.
like, the way in which it is actually portrayed humor-wise,
I would say...
because...
Yeah.
I would say it's like if you took the comedy and humor of Sakamoto and then put the fucking mind games, or bullshit mind games, I should say, of Light Yagami and L from Death Note into a romance.
Yeah,
that's a pretty common comparison. But
It's
yeah, it is.
That's definitely a better way to put that, I think. It is so... It's so wild in how, like, conniving and scheming they are about every little small thing. Like, the fact that they are able to make asking for a piece of food into a chess match, essentially, is astounding to me. And I just don't know how they do it.
So,
but yes. So please, please.
Okay. I'm gonna interject. It might disrupt your train of thought, and I'm sorry. Have you ever done this before?
Done what before?
Have I ever
Like
been
that-
at
like
Have
Have you
a
read, like, mental
confession
gymnastics?
like chess match?
No.
Am
No!
I the only one that's ever had this experience?
Hold on a minute.
No.
What
Maybe
do
we
you
should
mean?
reserve this until like after the podcast. But I
Yeah,
genuinely
because
wanna
otherwise
know
we'll
about
go on
this.
to a tangent. But I'm just saying, like, this is how it happens.
I'm putting a pin in this. I'll be right. I gotta find someone to write this shit down.
I love how me and Zach are like, wow, this is an amazing fantasy. And then Matt's like, dude, same. I know this. This is my life in anime form. And we're like, what?
Okay. All right. So remind Matt to talk about.
Oh, fuck.
I don't even know how to phrase this. I have a note on my desk that says "Remind Matt."
Okay, we'll discuss that later. Anyway, this show is great.
Oh God, is it?
Oh,
Man, one thing that's really striking about this show, the style.
Yes.
Like, if you probably like watch the opening, like you could just go, this is a rom-com again? Sorry.
It's also one of those things where you hear the narrator for the first time, in which he's talking about like how fucked up love is and how amazingly like a battlefield it is, and you're like, wait, I'm sorry, what?
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like the tonal style is fascinating because, like, man, the opening for this is my favorite Bond theme ever.
Yeah.
Just
it's so good. It's the same director that did that one show. That's not helpful.
No, it's not, but I appreciate you.
The Showa Rakugo, that one. Yes, it was.
Yeah,
it came to me.
This show has a
same director,
stupid pedigree.
Same director. Also confirmed, legitimately, there is some Shaft animators on this. Ex-Shaft animators, I think.
Yes.
For some reason,
there's absolutely no way watching this that it couldn't be.
For some reason, that doesn't surprise me, but at the same time, I didn't think about it while I was watching this.
Yeah, I mean, it's really noticeable if you look at it. You're like, oh yeah, like it's mostly shadows, framing, use of lighting.
Yeah.
Just weird stuff like that. It doesn't have all the Shaftisms, but it has the style.
The pedigree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for your fancy word.
Sorry, I got really into dog shows recently.
So dog shows?
What?
Yeah, pedigree. Okay, moving on.
Oh my god. Okay, let's move
Yeah. All right.
No, Kaguya-sama is a masterpiece of our generation.
But actually, a
But
masterpiece.
yeah, it's actually good. This is not me being sarcastic this time, as it's been like the last 3 times. This is actually good. And I love it. I also love these 2 little dorks. 3 little dorks, technically.
Oh man, like just the chemistry and the just sheer warfare between Kaguya and Miyuki is fantastic. But God, Chika is just here. She doesn't
have any idea what's going on. But I do have a theory that maybe she does know what's going on.
Oh, so you're thinking like maybe a season down the line we're gonna get some weird internal monologue plot twist of she actually knows all the dumb shit she's interrupting doing, but she is just playing it off as part of yet this larger chess game.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Look, man, I'm gonna be honest with you.
I'm thinking this is a multi-layered chessboard right now. That's what I'm thinking.
We're playing 4D chess with this show right now.
Yeah, basically. And that's what I think the characters are doing. It kind of looks like this, but there is something way beneath the surface that's going on.
Oh, I mean, truly, absolutely. I would kind of be devastated if Chika was actually a brainy mastermind, because she's just a good girl that's doing her best. But
you're right, and I want to believe that with all my heart, but I don't know about her. I don't know. Something.
I'm staying wary.
I'm very wary. Because, I mean, I see what kind of shenanigans are happening, right? Like, and look what kind of school they're enrolled in. Like, she didn't get there by just sheer willpower. There's a reason.
No, she likely got there through, like, some mommy and daddy money.
Oh, well, yeah. Obviously. But, I don't know. Something about it just doesn't feel right. And
I mean, that's
okay.
fair. And
that's not to say that I do not think she's a cinnamon roll, because she is a cinnamon roll that needs to be cherished. but
what a weird thing to say.
But
what a wild way of phrasing that.
Cinnamon rolls, man. But
okay.
I don't think that's the part that he had a problem with, the cinnamon roll part.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that was, but whatever. It's just weird, dude.
You never heard someone say that before?
Moving on.
Okay.
It's a good show.
It's a very good show. I do recommend this one.
I like, and that's the thing. Like, it's a fascinating show, and I love just all the dumb strategic shit that goes into the most minor of interactions between Kaguya and Miyuki.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, I don't have much more to say aside from just go watch it.
Yeah.
Because it's
an experience.
It really is, because I cannot convey the absolute, like, just gut-busting dumb shit humor of this show by talking to you about it. It doesn't work that way. So you really just have to watch it.
It's very much if you took the idea of, what if 2 people overthought everything and then put that to the absolute most radical extreme.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the main focus is a love confession.
Right. And it's in the, like, at the end of the day, it's one of those, like, very cute type of scenarios, because it's people blushing and people, like, genuinely that do enjoy each other's company, but they just won't ever admit to it. But it's just bonkers wild while it's doing it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is a good show. And that's even coming from somebody like myself who absolutely cringes at, like, the smallest of things. Like, I legitimately cannot watch The Office because of just how cringy that makes it. And there are multiple other shows in which it gets into a scenario in which someone's just like, oh no, I don't know about X, so I'm going to have to bullshit about X. And that makes me cringe so hard, and I have to like pause the episode. I still enjoy this show.
It's very good.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So, I adore this show, but it is not even my favorite of the season so far.
What is your favorite, actually? Because that's what's interesting me about the amount of things that we've talked about so far, good and bad, that would not be your favorite of the season.
I gotta tell you, man, Boogiepop is my favorite of the season so far.
Really? Okay, now let me ask you, because this is actually important to my own personal thing. How many episodes have you watched?
I am caught up. I've watched 5.
Okay. Matt, how many have you watched?
I have watched 2.
Okay. I have watched 1, and I legitimately cannot even discuss this show. Because
that's fine.
Because
I'm not.
Yeah, one show, or sorry, excuse me, one episode. I know fucking nothing about this show.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not planning to be extensive in my discussion of this show, largely for the same reasons I have for not wanting to talk at length about like Kaguya-sama.
Yeah,
it is very much a show that is far better experience just watching it. And you definitely have to watch more than one episode to get a better picture of the show. To be fair, 5 episodes in, there's still a lot that I am trying to piece together. Essentially, the main core idea of the show is, from what I have gathered, there is this force that exists called Boogiepop, who appears when there's some kind of imbalance in the world. Something bad is happening, some creature, some entity has manifested that is shifting the balance of good and evil, or the natural order of the world, and Boogiepop shows up to combat it.
Right.
It is so interesting to me, just tonally speaking. I haven't encountered a show like this that's made me feel the same kind of atmosphere to it since something like, it feels a lot like Ergo Proxy or Psychopaths or something like Ghost in the Shell adjacent. It has this very kind of atmospheric tone that's reminiscent of like a cyberpunk kind of show without the trappings of a cyberpunk show, if that makes sense.
That
Kind of.
Well, I don't in 100% understand, but that's also because I've only seen one episode. That is very interesting to me.
I don't know. It's just it is a much darker show than any preview or synopsis of the show can give you, and it's so interesting to see it adapted this way, because as far as I know, this is an anime that is celebrating the 20th anniversary of the debut of the Boogiepop light novel series.
Yeah, which
I believe that is correct, because the original adaptation of this was in 2000, and then the light novels were written in the 90s, I think.
Yeah, like 98.
Yeah,
or something like that. And
which I actually want to bring up later, because I have something to talk about that. But go on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know. It's interesting to me in that the ways in which it is able to continue to string you along and keep you interested in the show while still keeping you so completely in the dark about a lot of the deeper workings and machinations of the show is... Normally, when a show is this obtuse about certain things, it just kind of annoys me in a lot of ways. It's like, can you just fucking tell me? Can you at least give some indication as to why I should invest my time to watch this thing? But Boogiepop manages to keep this air of mystery and intrigue that a lot of shows like this don't really manage to capture. If that makes sense. And again, I don't want to talk a lot about it just because it's so fucking good that you should just watch it yourself. It's an absolute joy to watch. Like, it's pretty much tied with like the Promised Neverland, or I guess I said Kaguya-sama probably isn't my favorite of the season, but it's a tie between Boogiepop and Kaguya-sama and the Promised Neverland for me, honestly. If we're not counting like Run with the Wind, because it's technically a holdover from a previous season.
Right, because there's a continuation for like 24, 25 episodes of that.
Yeah.
Let me bring up an anime, and I just want you to discuss like a comparison, not necessarily in like style or story, but tone, because it interests me with the fact that it was written in the 90s and this also came out in the 90s. Serial Experiments Lane.
Okay, so I would say that I'm getting a very similar tone between the two, just because for one particular reason, there is this kind of sense of foreboding that permeates the show. So even though it is taking this seemingly normal everyday kind of experience in a school setting and this seemingly normal Tokyo setting, and it injects this consistent sense that at all times something is not right. There's always something that is off or not normal, and you are not entirely sure of what it is. So I guess, totally speaking, it's less like it exudes this thing of like a cyberpunk sort of thing or anything like that, but it very much gives this idea that there's consistently something wrong, and it is able to string that along wonderfully.
And that's what I was actually thinking a little bit, and it's very strange because technically I did watch... I've only seen one episode, and I watched it like 10 minutes before we started this podcast. But I've only seen one episode, and there's a lot that's genuinely just completely not even considered to be explained in that first episode. It's very much one of those that you have to give a couple episodes before you actually kind of understand what it's going for. But at least tonally, because it's not story-wise cyberpunk, it's not very similar as far as like a lot of elements, but tonally it reminded me a lot of Serial Experiments Lane, which was strange to me because I wouldn't have thought that type of comparison. But whenever I saw that it was made similarly in the 90s, I was just like, that actually strikes me as kind of similar, like as if they're both influenced by each other.
Yeah, and it wouldn't really surprise me, but I don't know. It's they give me a lot of similar feelings, and I guess I hadn't really thought about it specifically with relation to Serial Experiments Lane, but yeah, it's just it has this incredible air of unease and mystery, and has this incredible chemistry with the characters and these very likable folks that you're going to get attached to pretty quick.
Yeah,
I did anyway. But anyway, it's really good. I'm 5 episodes in, and while I have a better understanding of some things, there's still a good bit of the show that I'm like, what the fuck is even happening? I have no way of even hoping to understand the fullness of this.
That's kind of what you hope for, though, as far as a show that has tonally the similar style to like Serial Experiments Lane. You're like hoping for that, like, what the fuck is going on, until you get to like the last 3 episodes. Yes. Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's
Matt,
you should really give it a go if you haven't.
Yeah. And after seeing that first episode, I'm so confused. I have no idea what's going on, but I do genuinely want to know what this story is about and like what's going on. So I think that I can absolutely vouch for that, if nothing else. Matt, what do you think? Because you've actually seen more of. I'm sorry. You've actually seen way more of this than I have. As far as
I've seen 2 episodes. That's like double.
Yeah, that's 2 times more than me.
I have a really strange experience with this show.
Really?
Ooh, do tell.
Yeah, it's not good.
Oh no!
Not the show. Just my experience wasn't good.
Oh. Okay.
So, Boogiepop is one of those. It's one of those light novel series that people have been asking for an adaptation for a long time because the first adaptation was unsatisfactory.
Mm-hmm.
Either in the fact that they just didn't think there was enough of it, or it went in a completely different direction from the novels.
Yeah,
so they wanted something.
Which isn't that crazy for something that was like made in the 2000s as far as the
Yeah.
adaptation goes.
Yeah, so people have been begging for this for a long time, and with Boogiepop being one of the fundamental basis of light novels, one of the staples, I would almost say, of what makes light novels what they are.
I did not know that.
Even though you might not think that with the way light novels are now, but yeah, it was one of the first light novels and established the basis of what light novels were meant to be for that period of time. That's when you got things like trended things like Baccano and things like that. Things that came out that's a little bit later down the line, but you know, it that was the tone for light novels back then.
Yeah,
it was stuff like that.
I remember right before we started the podcast, I was on Twitter and I heard that apparently this was one of the largest inspirations for the author of Bakemonogatari.
Yeah. Because it is really an abstract sort of show, as Zach was saying. It's got the pieces. It's got, you know, you're trying to piece things together. It's like a
mystery.
It is a mystery-esque show. Yeah.
I don't want to say it's a more cerebral show because that sounds really pretentious and like but I mean it kind of is.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I view it.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, Matt. Go on.
Oh, that's okay. I'm generally apprehensive towards this sort of style anyway. Like shows like Serial Experiments Lane and
oh, that's my jam though.
Like, yeah, and shows like Baccano, like the asymmetrical story structures, and I know someone's gonna come back and haunt me. Someone's gonna come back and slam me for this when I say I watch Haruhi in freaking, you know, asynchronous order. But I don't like this storytelling of this not knowing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Is just it's just not my thing. Like it really just annoys me more than anything.
That's fair.
No, that's totally fair.
That's totally fair.
And honestly, that doesn't. I don't think it's a bad show. I don't think it's for me. But I do want to add a little bit of a interesting sort of experience I have with the show. So, this episode, I don't know if you guys were aware, this show released 2 episodes on its first day of airing.
Yep.
So, there was a lot of people that watched 1 episode and were confused as fuck, which, you know,
that's currently me.
Yeah. So, congratulations. I was part of that club for a little bit. I'm still part of that club. Except I'm now watching episode 2. That's the only difference. Yeah, so if you watch episode 1, a lot of people were like, well, what the heck? Like, this is weird. And then a lot of people were trying to say, well, the novels did it differently. It's not following the novels. And then some people were, you know, there was a whole bunch of, like, opinions just being tossed about what was going on. And then people watched episode 2, and some people said, this show's not for me. There's basically 2 types of people. There's 2 people that say, the show's not for me, or the show is amazing. Like that's your 2 camps. Like it's very divisive, I guess you could say.
Welcome to Annie Twitter 2018 and 2019.
Yeah. Well, this is divisive in a good way, I would say. Not in a divisive in a... I would say it's not like people are having arguments over this. This is just a difference of opinions.
That is so much better.
Yeah, which that's fine. That's acceptable.
Yeah.
So yeah. I read a lot of like blog posts because I just wanted to know what was going on after episode 1 because I was like, the fuck, like that I could have typed that in chat anywhere and everyone would have been like, yeah. But yeah, so I was looking at things trying to find information and they're like, well, you're not supposed to know yet, and I'm like, okay, but that's what I'm trying to find out. Like,
right.
That's the reason I Google this, and everyone's like, you just gotta wait, and I'm like,
Yeah,
So I'm just getting increasingly more annoyed because I'm like, okay, guys, I get it, but I want to know. Like,
it's like if a bunch of people gave you like the spoiler warning, and you're like, no, that's fine, I'm okay with spoilers, and they're like, no, but spoiler warning, and you're like, I don't care.
Yeah, it's basically what it is, and I was just like, oh my god, I just want to watch this show, and then like I watched episode 2, and then I was like, well, I still don't understand anything, and I understand a little bit, like a little bit more, and I was like, okay, well. Then I came at an impasse. I'm like, well, do I want to go spoilers? Like, do I want to go spoil this whole thing for myself? Do I want to read the novels? Because apparently they do it better. Like, and then I also, and the most important, conclusion I came from this is I was thinking, what if this wasn't released 2 episodes at a time? What if the first episode was just released like every other anime and released 1 episode on launch, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would happen? So the only thing that made me think is they intentionally put both episodes out at once, which obviously they did. That's a fact. But I was just thinking about it, and I was like, if they didn't do that, then yeah, no one would watch this show because everyone would just be confused as fuck for a week and probably drop it or say go read the novels. Like that's literally what would happen. And then I don't know. Like it seems like the format. A lot of people have discussed the format of the anime, and there's a lot of or at least was a lot of discussion about that. In terms of just how well it's handling it, because apparently one of the reasons Boogiepop was never adapted before was because of its very complicated light novel format. It is an extremely complex adaptation for a lot of the reasons we're seing.
To be honest,
like,
after one episode, I could totally see that.
Yeah.
To be honest, people what now?
Sorry.
People that read the light novels would always vouch for that. Even like 5 years ago, if people said they wanted an adaptation of this, people would always say, readers of the light novels would always say, this is a complicated adaptation. If it's not done right, you wouldn't want it anyway. So there's a little bit of discussion in terms of how well the adaptation's actually being handled, and it's pretty much a toss-up in which camp you're in.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of interesting aspects there. As I said, I'm not really too into it because I'm just confused. So I'm just left disinterested.
That's fair.
But if I wanted to read it, I'll go read the novels. Like that's what I do.
I understand that. I'm pretty deeply lost in the sauce right now, and I love that. Just because of the way it's presented, and I think its subject matter and the ways in which it is discussing this, this very weird, very layered, complex story. I love that kind of format of storytelling, so
yeah,
of course I'm going to dig this, but I can totally understand why this isn't exactly your bag there. So
yeah, and I don't think it's a bad show. Like I honestly this is me not knowing anything about the light novels besides what I've already said. It seems like it's a good show. It's not. This format is just not for me. Honestly,
that's fair. Totally fair.
Yeah, it's very much a difference between you and I that, like, after seeing one episode, I'm confused as hell. I have no idea what's going on, but I genuinely want to watch more. And at the same time, it is absolutely as equal and as fair that you're like, I've watched 2 episodes, I still don't know what's going on, and I just don't feel as inclined to watch it as much as some other shows. And I think both points are valid as far as that goes. Because I could see that this could be totally weird and convoluted, and you genuinely don't know what the hell is going on until the very last episode, and that would be my jam because I'm kind of used to that as far as like a lot of weird things that I've seen. But at the same time, for everybody else, they're just gonna be like, nah, it's okay, I have a bunch of other shows that I want to watch, and that's totally valid.
Yeah, and I mean that's pretty much it. It's just a difference of opinion.
Yeah,
difference of tastes. Yep, pretty much.
Yeah.
I will say, and this is a little unrelated to your point, I kind of want that hat that they introduced in the first episode of Boogiepop.
The drum major hat.
Yeah, the weird like mixture of a drum major hat and like a Russian Cossack hat. Like that's my jam. I want that.
It's a pretty cool hat.
It's a good hat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of hats in general, though.
I like a lot of hats. So.
Yeah. No, yeah, that I think that for a lot of people, that is going to be a pick of this season. As far as whenever that show like actually introduces a lot more episodes of it and gets in really gets into it. This is my perspective of episode 1. I'm sure, Zach, that you could say that a lot better than me. But like, I think that will definitely be a really good show that a lot of people will enjoy, and other people, they just won't be into it, and that's fine.
You know,
Yep.
Kind of unrelated, but also sort of related.
Yeah.
You know what platform would have been good to release this show on?
What?
Netflix.
Honestly, yeah.
To wait till the whole thing is done.
You know what?
Yeah, they should have thought about that, but yeah, that would have worked a lot better.
That is one of the few times that I think the Netflix format of binge watching something would benefit the show more so than the episodic weekly thing.
You know, the thing is, I would happily binge watch this. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I could definitely.
I would binge watch it. Yeah, like I would have no problem with that.
This
But-
makes-
I can't really say that I would like prefer binge watching it over anything over the current format, but again, that's just I like kind of wonky narrative structures. So
yeah, this makes me
just works for me
think
that way.
about various different shows, not necessarily animated related, but like if you took Stranger Things and made it an episodic format, how well that would do in comparison to the binge watching. Something that's like mysterious and you don't know what's going on, and you truly don't know what's going on until like the last episode, and there's a lot of weird concepts introduced into the show. In an episodic format, I don't know how successful that would be compared to the binge watching format.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking about, just honestly. So
Yeah.
I thought that was a little interesting since we talked about simulcasting affecting shows earlier. I thought this would be a interesting point.
I actually have not watched, because I'm kind of a plebeian, I have not watched that many other things this season. So, what all things have you watched outside of what we've discussed so far?
Well,
Is
Yeah,
this
who-
a general
who are you
question?
talking
Is this
to?
a general
It's like-
question?
Yeah, it's a general question. Either one of you. I'm not going to be like, Zach, let me talk about you for a second and talk about your wants and feelings.
You're gonna put him on the spot,
Yeah.
I mean-
like you did me a few minutes ago.
I'm so sorry.
the only other two that I watched so far are The Price of Smiles, which, fun fact, I guess me and Matt both thought initially was called The Prince of Smiles.
Yeah, don't worry.
Which was
Apparently,
which
half
was-
of Twitter thought that, so
okay.
not
Yeah,
the
you're-
only
So
ones.
Especially-
I'm glad I'm not the only idiot.
Especially
here.
because it deals with a lot of like monarchy and different things like that. Prince of Smiles
yeah, but
is like
it's
not
a
that far fetched.
princess.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
why
I
didn't we
should've looked
notice
at the-
that?
I know.
It's
'cause
too
I was
obvious
obvious.
in a gender, really.
No, because I look and I'm like, aw, this is a very endearing poster, and that's definitely a princess. I wonder why this is called Prince of Smiles, even though I was looking right at it. It says
That's
the
what I
Prince
was thinking of the
of
same
Smiles.
thing. I was like, this is so abstract. What's
This is
going
gonna be
on?
really sad, and absolutely you're gonna make fun of me for it. But whenever I was first getting into this season, the first two shows that I was gonna start with, and then I ended up not watching back to back, was The Price of Smiles and The Promised Neverland. And I got the
Oh,
names confused, and I was
Oh
thinking,
no!
I was thinking the fact that like they have to force a smile, and the fact that like Mother is constantly looking at them for The Promised Neverland. I was like, wow, The Price of Smiles is a really good name for this.
Oh,
That's an
God,
interesting.
dude.
There's an interesting fact. If you start name swapping shows, does it make them better?
Yeah, it's like
Um,
if you looked like at like The Run with the Wind with like Magical Index, and you're like, how could this metaphor work?
Interesting.
I
Good mistake.
actually am this is another one of those that unfortunately, unlike Dororo, where I've seen like all the episodes of so far, I've only seen one episode of The Price of Smiles. I liked it though.
Oh man,
It's like one of those weird shows where like it is not at all what I considered it to be, because the first episode is very like slice of life, but then about halfway through they introduce a lot of like mech battles, and I'm like, dude, I'm totally down, because it's been a while since I've seen one. It's been a while since I've seen like a Gundam show or something like that. And then like you have that twist ending at the end, and then I'm like, ooh, I am interested for how the rest of this show is gonna play out.
Yeah. I only watched one episode so far too, but yeah, it's like someone took Alno Zero and then mixed it with the politics from Chaika, and it's like someone just made this hybrid. It's weird.
Hold on, you've only watched one episode?
I've only watched one episode.
I thought you were caught up.
I'm not caught up on this one.
Oh, okay.
This is the Jack of all trades, master of none podcast right now.
Zach, please tell me about the show, and like not too spoilery, but like episodes 2 and onwards. Like, I'm very much interested in the tone of the show and style.
Wait. So hold on. You all haven't watched anything beyond the first episode.
No. So we're gonna.
I can't talk to you all about the show.
Okay,
Wow.
so answer this question to the best of your ability. We're gonna learn the price of smiles, aren't we?
Yeah, in one episode.
Yeah, I figured. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, it's in the title, so.
Right. It's
Episode 1, very nice. Episode 2, real good. And then, oh god.
All right, that's what I want. That's what I like.
Do you remember the XY axis I was talking about?
Oh, yes, I
with
do.
the Promised Neverland?
It's back.
so
Copy and paste that and put it in for this show.
So really, I'm not that far off
Interesting.
as far as like name swapping these shows.
I mean, no, not really, because, wow, dude, I mean, essentially, to summarize this show, it is very much concerned with the horrors of war and the really rough choices people have to make, and the outcomes of those choices.
And that's where I wanted it to go, so that's good.
Actually, yeah, genuinely, after the twist at the end of episode 1, that's what I wanted this show to go towards, because I could totally watch a show that was a slice of life. Yeah, I could totally watch a show
that makes me happy. I'm glad this is going to be out Noah Zero, but good.
Yeah, oh no, dude, it sucks to watch. I love it.
Great.
1, Matt, little rude. 2, I could totally be down to watching a show that was about a slice of life about a princess like working her way through like growing up as royalty and like making those hard decisions. Because I've played Long Live the Queen. It's a fantastic it's a fantastic game, and I highly recommend it to everybody. But the fact of the matter is that it gets real dark real quick, and I genuinely enjoyed that. And the fact that they have that twist at the end of episode 1 where I was like, oh, they've been lying to the princess the entire time, and things are really fucked up. I was like, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to see where this is going.
Yeah. Oh well, it's going.
Good.
Good.
I think also because it's been a while
um,
since I've seen a Gundam show, and usually those Gundam shows get real hard into the politics, that I was actually a little stoked to like see a show that was doing the mech battle type of show, and then introducing a lot of like really hard conflicting politics.
I was actually really surprised that the mech battles were actually really strategical and really good. That was one of the first things I noticed about the show. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I haven't seen something like that in a little bit.
Yeah, they're real fun. They're by and large not a slog to watch.
Yeah,
I was thinking like if this suddenly took a turn for the worse, the fact that the princess is such a strategist made me very interested to see what type of show this would become.
Yeah, I have a feeling this is a show that a lot of people are sleeping on, and maybe they shouldn't be.
And that's not to say...
you absolutely should not.
Yeah, and that's not to say that like they're going to stop suddenly hiding all the horrors of war from the princess, but it just made me excited to see what type of strategy and what type of mech battle that we're getting into as far as the show goes.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, like it is really great. It is also a super sci-fi fantasy show with a bunch of like it comes with a lot of the lingo and trappings and like stupid names for shit that like it's it is very much kind of linguistically entrenched in the tropes of its respective genres.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it bad. I'm just kind of like, do y'all have to use this much weird jargon for it? But
yeah,
it's a very minor complaint for a really fantastic show so far.
Yeah, I think that's one of those things where it comes with the territory, and I'm not sure if there's a way to avoid that.
That's the thing. Like, I don't think the show really could have done anything else for it, because like they call the big things that power their machines, like they call them Shrars or something. They're basically just big fucking Duracells that are run on something else.
Yeah, and then like the extended name of those legitimately made me laugh because it was like Sharpits or something like that, and I was like, oh gosh, they were trying so hard with this lingo, and it's just so funny sounding.
It's just the way. It's just like, remember when watching Psychopaths? Remember Hyper Oats? Yeah, like.
Yep.
Which, by the way, legitimately, if you were able to grow oats that had the massive amounts of nutrition as like 50 other foods, that's fantastic. And I love that was a plot point. But the fact that it's called hyper oats of all things,
it's unfortunate. It is one small thing that is an issue with an otherwise fucking fantastic one season anime.
You call it an issue. Also, you made a misnomer there. Not sure if you were aware.
What do you mean misnomer?
There's 2 seasons.
What do you mean?
Wait, what?
There's 1 season.
Oh, you're right. There's only 1 season. Never mind. What am I thinking? I was thinking of something else.
You were thinking of like I'll Know Zero or something like that. You were about to blow my mind, Matt. I was like, what?
Yeah, you were thinking about like a show that actually had a second season that was worth watching.
Yeah, you're right. My bad.
First off, rude. But
no, first off, the second season of Psychopaths is fucking garbage.
All right, that's fair.
To the point that they are retconning it and giving us 3 films.
It's amazing that they're choosing to do that for Psychopath. They're like, that didn't happen.
It's kind of funny because the only other show I've ever heard that happening for is Darker Than Black, where they retcon the second season, or people don't acknowledge it at least.
I actually didn't know that they retconned the second season.
Well, they didn't retcon it. They just, people don't acknowledge it. It doesn't exist. But yeah, I'm excited for The Price of Smiles.
Yes.
Now, absolutely.
Oh fuck, it's so good. It's so you guys have to tell me when you start getting more into it.
Oh, trust me.
Because
I absolutely want to talk to you about this show. If it starts going into some crazy fucking territory and starts getting like really interesting, I'm totally down, and I want to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have fun.
I cannot wait.
But yeah, with that's like all I have to say.
Yeah,
I haven't watched anything else.
Literally, the only other 2 shows that I have watched so far, which I'm sure we won't talk about because it's very much a joke for all of us, but I genuinely do enjoy. Pingu in the City, season 2. I like.
No, you know what? We're almost at 3 hours. Fucking talk about Pingu.
Let me talk about a show that not a single word is uttered, but you can completely understand the plot line for. That is Pingu in the City. It's amazing that you can have a 6-minute show that no words and no script are necessary, but you can have a very fulfilling and interesting kids show. And it very much is a kids show. It's never strayed from that platform, although the original Swedish show was insanely dark. Like the random appearance of a sea lion that just eats penguins. Little dark.
Oh.
But it's definitely matured from that and turned into this show that's very much for kids, but it's just a genuinely good show and 6 minutes of your life that you will not feel like is wasted. Anyways, that's Pingu in the City. The only other show that I've seen is Endro, which Zach, have you seen?
Ma'am,
I'm
just not interested.
That's totally fair.
Yeah.
This is one of those shows that I didn't expect either of you to watch because it's a cute girls doing cute things thing. And also it's an isekai show. Although technically not, because it's just kind of a fantasy show. It's not necessarily...
I watched 2 episodes.
Yeah, it's not necessarily getting transported into another world. It's totally up my alley, though, because of 2 reasons. One, it's I have always enjoyed stories that have the fantasy element and then go through those big Odyssey journeys, but are not afraid of like dedicating multiple chapters to just looking at the minutia and like the interesting day-to-day of this fantasy world and exploring that. I love that. That's what this show is. But on top of that, it also has this basic setup where you have this demon lord who is super evil and terrible, and he is all evil incarnate. But then the main heroines of the story suddenly reverse time, and this demon lord is forced into this shell of a like tiny little demon cute girl, and is forced to be their teacher. It's a weird setup, but what I love about it is that like after multiple tries of going through this like Majora's Mask time setup, Groundhog Day, where it's like go through time, try to make them not do the right thing, they end up doing the right thing, you reverse time. Go through time, try to make them do the wrong thing, they end up doing the right thing, reverse time. This demon lord finally admits, fuck it, I'm not even gonna try anymore. It just says, you know what, I'm just gonna live a good life because I hate my life right now. I love that.
It was kind of a really interesting plot twist, if you could call it that. I was like, oh man, it's going to be one of these generic fantasy shows. I almost turned it off like in the first 3 minutes. I was oh no, this is one of these shows. And then it was back, and I'm like, wait a minute, time loop. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute, that's interesting. Okay.
The fact that this massive being of pure evil and total control and power is just said, I'm sick and fucking tired of this time loop, and just goes, fuck it, I'm just gonna get a drink with the other teachers of this school and just live a good life while I can.
Well, no kidding why the Demon Lord's annoyed. Like, you saw what their freaking main party was doing in their chamber. They're like, look, it's a pillar! Knocks it over.
They're
like,
total dumbasses. And the fact that you have this massively intelligent villain that's like, for some reason, after years of trying to defeat these guys, I can't, even though they're the stupidest people in the world.
And the whole reason the time loop happens is because she freaking stutters the incantation of the vanquishing spell. Like, she's just like, whoops, I forgot. And they just go into the time loop.
Oh, fuck, it's such the greatest setup of a slice of life ever. And that's what it is. It's just a cute girls doing cute things slice of life in a fantasy world.
Never mind. I'm interested. And, I think I'll have this to talk about later.
Oh, fuck. It's not even that it's that interesting of a slice of life, because it's, once again, similar to Mermaid, one of those fucking nothing shows. But it has one of the greatest setups ever created.
It's got a lot of heart, at least.
Oh, man. I love it.
And I'm like, I just watch it, and I'm like, oh god, what's gonna happen this time? It's like watching the train wreck. It's like, except there's no casualties. It's just like, as soon as it's about to crash, it just reverts back to like 700 miles away.
And then all of a sudden you have this super evil dude that's like big and buff and turns into this tiny little like demon child that goes, son of a bitch, in like the tiniest high-pitched voice.
Like, that's basically what this show is.
That's basically what this show is.
Oh, and just watching these dumbass girls.
Absolutely stupidest people in the world.
Oh my god.
Oh, fuck, it's good. Oh, man.
It's pretty magical. Like, it was one of those shows that I'm like, always contemplating, like, going into it, I'm like, I don't know about this one. And then, like, each episode I've done that. With both episodes I've gone, I don't know if I'm going to like this. And then I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to keep watching this.
Yeah, and granted, I've only seen, like, 2 episodes of this show. So it could just take a turn for the worse and become the most monotonous thing in existence. But fuck, man, if they ended this show after 2 episodes, I would consider this a 10 out of 10 and one of the best shows ever created.
Strong words, but alright.
It's one of the greatest setups for a stupid slice of life I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's pretty miraculous.
Oh, fuck. Anyways, that's Endro.
That was it was one of those. I was impressed after I got done. I was like, all right, you know what? You didn't get dropped after one episode.
Yeah,
Or
it's like
two,
one of those.
after 2 episodes, and I'm like, wow, this is impressive.
If this was just like a short series that was like 48 minutes long, it would be so great. I am interested to see where they take it from here, because if they can do a stupid setup like that and excel at it, I'm very interested to see what they do with the slice of life formula.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
I'm sure there's going to be something stupid that comes up, and it's going to be even worse.
Probably.
All right, yeah. But yeah. That was the surprise of the season right there.
Biggest upset of the season. Yeah. I truly expected, because I actually passed up on this show. And I only started it because there was a couple of people like Bob on Twitter that were like, what the fuck? And I was like, okay, I at least need to see an episode of this show. And then I ended up watching 2, and I was like, this is a slice of life show. There's not much going on. But gosh, if that is not a great setup for a show. No, I recommend at least watching like 2 episodes of this show. I don't know if it will last. I don't even know if it will be that good. But I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah. So that's intro. That's it. I've not watched a single other show this season because I'm a plebeian and I have not seen like 60 hours worth of shows.
I mean, minus that, like, I mean, we've talked about a lot of shows. If you say that's all we've watched, but there's a lot of shows that
I like, as much as I joke about it, I was genuinely surprised because I ended up watching a lot more anime than what I usually do for seasons. Because usually seasons I'll like watch 1 here, 2 here, and it's like 4 or 5 shows. And then I ended up watching like 10 shows this season, and I was not necessarily disappointed with most of them.
Yeah, it was a stunning amount of stuff that I actually want to continue with.
Yeah,
winter is always seems to be a good season. Like people are always
weird,
like, oh, it's winter, it's dry, it's always not good. Like, and I'm like, well, you guys are sleeping on winter. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Your Yuku Camp came out in winter, didn't it? And
yeah, it sure did.
Oh boy, did it.
Yeah, and Beyond the Horizon.
Oh boy, did it.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean A Place Further Than the Universe?
I'm so sorry. Yeah, not
Beyond the Horizon is a different thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think
that's actually a different show. Actually,
that's a KyoAni show.
Beyond the Boundary.
Yeah, Beyond the
Boundary. Beyond the Horizon might be another show entirely. I don't even know.
I believe I thought Beyond the Horizon was like the English translation of it, but sorry, I was reading the I Drink and Watch Anime blog, and they were doing a review of it, and I loved it. It was absolutely fantastic. It's A Place Further Than the Universe and Yodo Camp came out in winter, and it's surprising because like I remember our podcasts from about like 3-4 years ago when we first started, that we were like, man, winter's a shit season. There's nothing ever coming out. And that has completely changed.
It's all about perspective, man.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything I necessarily want to shout out here. Matt, 3D Kanojo Season 2, is it any good?
People are saying that it's kind of like Season 1, except like there's some, I don't know, like it's kind of like a blend for the people I'm talking about it, because people that followed Season 1, and they're also saying it's like Season 1, except it's a little bit better in some areas. I only watched 1 episode. It seems to be at least about the same. So
that's cool to me. Because
mildly good.
Yeah,
you know,
because we talked about Season 1 and we all said that it was good. It wasn't great, but it was good.
Yeah, it's about the same.
Yeah. There's one that I heard about, Domestic na Kanojo, which is, let's be honest, a little skeevy of a setup.
It's pretty popular drama this season.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one where a dude wants to date his teacher, right?
Yeah, that is part of the plot.
Okay, it's just a part of it, though.
Yeah.
Okay, thank goodness.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know, I've only seen one episode. It's not really super clarified. It's just, basically his dad's about to get remarried, and this guy just happens to, he likes this school teacher that is not related to him, and then his dad gets remarried, and suddenly she's now gonna be related.
Yeah, he's his stepmom or something like that, and then there's this weird, more reserved character that becomes his sister.
What they don't tell you in the synopsis is that he actually sleeps with that girl like 3 weeks before the remarriage happens.
My gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
oh no.
That's where the drama comes in.
So this is a straight version of Citrus.
I don't know if I'd call it that.
Okay.
But I don't know. But the funny thing is, she wants nothing to do with it. She's like, just forget about it. She's like, this is weird.
You know what? Good on her. So, season 2 of Kemono Friends, and I know that's going to be a massive basket that we can get into. Is it at least okay?
I don't know. I didn't watch season 1, so I didn't watch season 2.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Fair point.
I also would boycott it anyway, so.
That's fair. Y'all have both seen Mob Psycho season 1, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot that was a show this season.
Oh shit.
Oh,
yep, you're right.
Whoops.
You guys,
man.
I need to watch season 1, and I'm
Yeah,
so
we
sorry
ever asked you about
because-
watching season 1, but then we also just completely forgot about season 2 until just now.
Yeah, that is a failure on my part that I have not seen season 1, except for like bits and pieces of it, which I thought were amazing. But the y'all
That's
need
a
to
good
watch
show
season.
too.
Yeah, y'all need to watch season 2 because I really want to talk about that sometime.
Saw one episode of season 2. It's still good.
Good.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got because there's like a bunch of other shows and we could talk about them, but it's not worth it. At least not right now, and we're already moving up to like 3 hours for this podcast.
Yeah, I guess I could quickly gloss over just quick, brief, one sentence things.
Yeah.
So the cat show's not any good. Roommate's a cat. No.
I remember you talking about that.
The half the show's from the cat's perspective. That's weird. Moving on. Moving on. Grimm notes the animation. Actually,
I'm sure that's bad.
actually, kind of an interesting concept.
Really?
Where each story is like there's a bunch of characters that have like a book of fate that tells them their future. But then there's a bunch of people that don't have this book, so they're trying to go fix other people's stories. It's kind of like Kingdom Hearts, the anime. Think about it like that.
Like Grimm's fairy tale.
Makes it, yeah, they basically jump into different stories and they fix it.
That's interesting. That's an interesting setup.
Yeah.
Well, okay, yeah, I guess that is at least an interesting concept.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Is that why they
it's
call it Grimm's? Because it's like a Grimm's fairy tale type of situation?
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. No, that's down my alley. I'll actually give that an episode or 2.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I thought it was gonna be trash too. So,
cool.
Let me see. Oh, there we go. There's one. Pastel Memories. I like Pastel Memories. It's another kind of stupid show. That's kind of the theme for me this season. Is I love stupid shows. Pastel Memories. It's the one where they're in the future. How do they describe this? It's a world where anime doesn't exist, but they have to go into an anime to bring anime back to their world. But we're also watching the anime that they're in. It's weird, but it's a mindfuck. But it's kind of weird, but I love it. It's some weird sci-fi post-apocalyptic world without anime, where they are magical girls work in a cafe and they try to bring anime back by finding remnants of anime. It's stupid, but I like it. And basically anything that I didn't mention is probably garbage.
I like, by the way, that Pastel Memories, it says in the synopsis, in the year 20XX. And I'm like, Mega Man?
God damn it, God.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's an interesting concept. It's kind of a weird show.
There's a leftover of the Phoenix Wright anime. Has anybody seen that?
I didn't watch that since that beginning.
I saw 5 minutes.
Any good?
No.
That's unfortunate.
I was gonna watch season 1 eventually, but it doesn't matter.
Please just play the games.
Just play the games. That's what I keep hearing.
There's also that one show, Hinamaru Zumo. It's a leftover. It's.
Oh, okay. You're gonna make me scroll down. Hinamaru.
Yeah, it's like the wrestling anime. Sumo Club. It's Sumo Club. That's completely different from wrestling.
Gotcha. I thought Gonzo went bankrupt, but okay. I think they did. I think they did actually.
What?
Oh no!
No, something happened to them, didn't they? Like, I don't remember if they went.
Know.
I don't know. I have to look that up. Don't quote me on that.
If they went bankrupt, I'm legitimately going to feel incredibly sad.
Okay, hold on a second.
I like that I was looking at Gonzo, and the top 2 options besides Gonzo animation are Gonzo, the Sesame Street character, the Muppet character, and then Gonzo journalism.
Oh, Jesus.
I guess Gonzo hit financial issues in like the late 2000s.
Yeah, so that did happen at some point, but that wasn't what I thought of.
Yeah, they went through like a consolidation thing, and so they're still able to operate.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking of a different studio. Maybe I was thinking of one of the Gynex branches. The G's confused me.
Also, don't look up
Gonzo
on Wikipedia, because there's some weird shit that pops up.
Oh yeah,
like Gonzo pornography. Gonzo Media, got it. Anything else you want to shout out?
Nope. Not particularly.
Cool.
No.
Yeah, I mean, we've all individually, surprisingly, watched a lot of shows this season. This season, I think overall is a good season so far.
Yeah, I would say it's a good season. Yeah. I would classify this as in the realm of good, honestly.
Yeah, and it's genuinely surprising for 2 reasons. One, because for some reason my mentality is still stuck in like the 2006 mentality of like, there's nothing that happens during winter because there's only like 5 shows. And there's like 50 shows this season. How many more?
Yeah.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. I mean, I watched. Hold on.
Oh no, I'm both curious and also terrified about what the number is going to be whenever you tally this up, because you haven't even watched literally every show this season. You've just watched most of them.
35 new ones.
Oh my gosh, and that's not including leftovers at all.
No.
Wow. Okay, yeah, no, that's a lot of anime. And genuinely, as much as we dedicated like the first 45 minutes of this podcast to like meh shows, there's a lot of really good stuff to watch this season.
Yeah, it's I don't know why I continue to say like it's a stunning amount, but man, I'm just used to every other season just maybe having a handful of things that I actually want to watch.
Right, even if there's
and
like...
it's really wild to actually get into a season here where it's like even the shows that I've watched that are pretty bad aren't the worst.
Yeah.
I always feel like winter's very ambitious.
Which is very interesting compared to like a lot of the cultural ideas that we may have as Americans, because like usually it's like the blockbusters are the summertime, and we're used to a lot of things being in the summertime whenever people are like, let's do something weird.
Yeah, or you put out all the Oscar nominees in like the fall.
Yeah, fall, like the season before winter. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
honestly, I hate fall because it always feels like sequels from spring or from a year ago fall sequels. It feels like a sequel hell, and I don't like that.
Which sometimes those sequels are great, but then other times you're like, nah, I didn't necessarily.
I just want a new show. Like I'm tired of this one. I hate thinking like that, but I'm like, yeah, I want to watch something else right now. But yeah, I like winter. So
yeah,
this winter is good.
This winter is good.
Yep, yep, yep.
I guess that will be it for us then, because I can't think of anything else to talk about.
No, I mean, as always, I think I could probably talk about 100 more things, but we'd be going here for like 15-hour podcast. We're not doing that.
Genuinely.
Yeah, we don't need to do that.
Genuinely, if you ever
No one needs that.
created like a Discord or something like that for everybody to talk about, I would love to talk about various different anime for like 6 hours.
Yeah,
but
I could totally do it.
That's not good radio. So I guess we will see everybody next time.
Yep.
Thanks for stopping in, y'all. Stay warm.
Please. Stay warm. It's getting cold, at least here.
Yeah, so, unless you're in the southern hemisphere, in which stay cold.
Yeah, there you go. Keep it cool.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. If you actually listened to all 3 hours, let us know on Twitter or something, and I'll find a way to celebrate how amazing you are. No cheating, please. If you didn't listen to the whole thing, that is 100% understandable. You are among the sane, and I still love you for listening to us in any amount. As always, you can find all our podcasts, articles, videos, etc. at thebacklaggers.com. Our intro-outro song is The Bear by Shell in the Pit, you can find on Spotify as well as Bandcamp. And we'd love to hear from you all either in the comments on our site, or any feedback you want to leave us on whatever podcast platform you like. iTunes, SoundCloud, or the alternate dimension where intelligent people are elected to power, and Kemono Friends got its creator back for the 2nd season. Topical. And as always, we're on Twitter at _Backloggers, so come hang with us. See you later.